Welcome back to another episode of Hit Pause MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse podcast that asks the important question, what are those? I am joined once again by Jordan.
Hello, everyone.
And I am Till. I always forget to say that at every podcast. This is a Marvel podcast from Spawn Trap. This is a side thing that we do from our gaming content that we've enjoyed doing so far. But we recently did one of those. We usually have a long hiatus in between podcasts, but something just happened. It's the end of Phase 4. We finally watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That's going to be our main topic today. We're going to be talking about that. It will be a spoiler podcast. If you are watching live, I hope you have seen the movie because we're going to be spoiling everything from the movie. If you haven't seen the movie yet, if you're watching this live or afterwards, please take a note if there are timestamps down in the video below. If there is, then that means this video is edited. It's ready to go up to YouTube, and you can click on those timestamps and skip forward to a further topic of discussion. Although, to be honest, some of our topics, we might be referencing Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and we could be spoiling stuff. So I want to just just be aware of that warning. If you don't see timestamps, that means the video's still processing to be uploaded, or I might have to re-upload it depending on how nice YouTube wants to be with us on this podcast. I had some issues with the last podcast. I had to re-upload it. So just be mindful of that. If you see timestamps, you're good to go. You can click on the timestamp to go to the next chapter on what we're talking about in the podcast after Black Panther Wakanda Forever. In case you don't want to be spoiled, but we probably still might spoil it. So watch the movie first and then come back to this podcast if you really care about spoilers. That
And
being
as we're,
said,
and as we're on the topic
Mhm.
of Phase 4, there could be any amount of spoilers for any of those movies involved too. So if you
Yes,
haven't
I would.
watched,
I would say it's fair game at this point if you haven't
yeah,
caught up on
I was like,
Phase
if you
4
haven't
yet.
watched Thor or Multiverse of
If
Madness
you
or
are
anything like
like
that,
if you are like Jordan and you're still not caught up on Miss Marvel or She-Hulk,
oh
probably
no,
leave this.
yeah,
I'll
no,
try.
that's
I'll try
good.
not to spoil the shows for you. So those are the two exceptions. We won't be talking about those shows in this
It's okay.
podcast as
I
much.
I don't even know. I might have to watch She-Hulk on my own because I don't think my girlfriend wants to watch that anymore. I think she's out.
Just
She's
like
just it's rough for both of us,
yeah,
but
I know.
I want to do it just so I could talk about it on here, but that's about it.
Just I would say Miss Marvel is the better show. It's the more important one to watch, and it's the one that I think it would be better suited to what you like
Yeah.
in a show compared to She-Hulk, which is a comedy. I know you don't like comedies. The half
I
hour
li
like comedy thing.
I like comedies when they are not just filled with
It's
cheese.
I will
Like, I
say
like a small
okay,
amount.
you're not gonna like She-Hulk.
No, yeah. I mean, we watched the first one, we were the first 2 episodes of She-Hulk, and we
Yeah.
are halfway through Miss Marvel. I think there's 6 episodes in
Yeah,
Marvel.
yeah,
We
yeah,
watched 3 and we still haven't got to the other
yeah.
3, so
uh yeah, She-Hulk, I think She-Hulk is everything you hate.
yeah.
It's like it'll be a struggle to get through, but it's honest thing is though, the show in general, like as a whole, presented as a comedy, not really
Yeah.
that funny. Like
Yeah.
there are I will say like a good portion of the episodes I feel like I'm more upbeat on the show compared to everybody else that I've seen make comments on the show. I have seen people say they absolutely love the show. And this goes for any project out of Phase 4. A lot of people are saying like Phase 4 is terrible. It sucks. It's garbage. Marvel is like going downhill and every other comment that you've seen online under the sun. I've seen those too. But when I look at every comment that everybody's making, there are people that legitimately like everything that's come out of MCU Phase 4. So that's fine. There's something you don't like. It wasn't for you. It was for these other people that love it. And I wouldn't say that the Phase 4 has been bad. I think it's subjective. I think everybody has their own tastes and opinions. It is very much an experimental phase. Marvel's doing things that are drastically different to what they've done in the previous Infinity Saga for sure. They're taking
Mhm.
the fact that they're doing shows on Disney Plus in general is a huge step
Yeah.
away from what they're used to. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but I will say I don't think She-Hulk's up your alley. Um, I I'm a little bit upset because spoiler alerts. We're going to be talking about our Phase 4 thoughts and reviews and stuff like that. Miss Marvel is at the top of my list. So
Yeah,
it's the thing I like the most. It's a character. It's the show I've been looking forward to the most out of all of them because I read the comics and I love the character from the comics, and I think they adapted that character very well. I do have some issues with some things in the show, but overall I love the show. So that's why um like I understand why you don't like the show. I think it's going to be important going forward, especially for the Marvels and other things on the
yeah,
horizon. And just some implications that the show makes, some twists of what you think is
right.
going on in the MCU or what like some characters are or stuff like
I
that. So
I definitely do have to finish it. And I'll probably get around to it. I only have 3 episodes left. I can get through that. I just like, and I won't say I hate the episode or that I hate the show.
mhm.
I like the character. Like I like Kamala and I like all that, but she's just it's very like for kids
Yeah,
and like I feel like that's why like I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite, but when he's just talking in high school and stuff, like I can't relate to any of it anymore and I'm just like I don't
which is
really
funny
care about
because
your
like
social life. So,
a lot of people relate to Spider-Man for that reason. And
yeah.
then and Miss Marvel is very much like a sort of like a newer age Spider-Man. Like that's the character that they I think Marvel's trying to pivot towards because in the comics Spider-Man's older now. I mean, they got Miles Morales too, which I think is catered towards a different upbringing and a more modern age
Right.
telling of Spider-Man. But I feel like Miss Marvel is also attracting like other audiences too. So these are both characters I would say now. There's the MCU Peter Parker. There's Miles Morales from the comics. There's Kamala from the comics, and
Right.
I think objectively the goal on both of them is to show those kids that are going up with those comics, like even the actor herself for Miss Marvel said, she discovered a character that looks like her and said who in a different comic book she was obsessed with Iron Man and was introduced to the character and she said who is this and then she fell in love with the character and then she ultimately pursued the role which I think is an awesome story.
For sure,
um
yeah.
so yeah, it's definitely not like if you're not into a kids thing. I remember walking out of Far From Home and I really like the movie.
Yeah.
I remember walking out and my cousin Mike, who was with us, he was like, I don't like the Spider-Man of the MCU. I hate all the kids and like the high school setting and all that stuff. And it
Yeah.
pretty much mirrors what you're saying about Miss Marvel. So so
Yeah,
I understand.
I think me and Mike, like as much as I like Ned, I
Mhm.
forget the actor's actual name, and I love Zendaya, but as much as I love the Spider-Man movies, I don't care about that like those like them like Peter Parker, Ned, and Zendaya
Mhm.
or MJ. I don't really care about the three of them interacting with each other and like their high school issues. I'm like, yeah, I think me and Mike are the only ones who both were like, man, is it just you or do I like are you bored during those scenes? And I'm like, yeah, kind of. I was like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, it is. I'm not trying to arguing that the show is not that. There are
Yeah.
some heavy themes in Miss Marvel, but
Yeah.
it's not targeted towards us. It is targeted towards a younger demographic and that stuff, which is what it's intended for, and that's what I knew going into it. And
Right.
I think that's why I enjoyed the show much more. That stuff never really bothers me if it's a kid's show or not.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's get on to Black Panther. So we both watched that. Was it the other night or no? A couple nights ago.
Friday. Friday we
Friday,
watched it. Yeah.
Monday
Today's
now.
Monday now. Yeah.
So what did you? I don't think our blur effect is working still. But I will have our visual context rectangle text here. So hopefully we don't get a copyright strike. But yeah, what did you think of it?
um, let's see. Well, first off, I'll just say like right out of the way, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I really like what they did with it. I like how they handled everything.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. It was good, and I still enjoyed the movie as a whole, but it feels like we're in a different like I don't know, with Chadwick Boseman passing away, it almost felt like I was watching something in like a different multiverse timeline. Like I was like, what would it have been if Chadwick like what would the movie have been if Chadwick Boseman was still alive? And then I'm like, I feel like we got like we're in a Doctor Strange universe where Chadwick Boseman passed away because I'm like,
Yeah.
we just had that really good like the original Black Panther movie, and he's like, I love Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. um, so it was cool seeing a female Black Panther, Shuri. So it was like
Mhm.
cool with all that, but it was like I still feel like I want more Chadwick Boseman, which is just kind of sad to
Right.
say.
Yeah, but you know that we're in
But
the
there's nothing you could
situation that we
do.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the situation we had. I enjoyed the movie a lot. Like I don't
Yeah.
really. I'm sure there could be things edited out or like just to make it a little shorter. But
Yeah.
I liked the way it was. I thought it was good. I liked everything. I had a good time with it all. Um, Yeah, it just it's a very emotional movie though. Like my
Mhm.
girlfriend cried a lot just
Yeah.
because how emotional it is, like with everything.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the ending cutscene later. But what would you think of
Oh,
it?
okay. Yeah, so here's the thing. While I'm talking, something that you can do. I'm pretty sure if you want to Google it, there is information on what the original plans for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever,
Mm,
for Chadwick Boseman. So you might have your answer if you do a Google search. I have not looked it up, but that's what I heard. So I will say this was one of my most anticipated movies out of all of them, specifically because I know the comics that it's referencing and the villain that they chose for the movie, Namor, and his rivalry with Black Panther. So
yeah.
even before they announced the character, I'm like, they gotta do Namor. They gotta do it. I'm like, that's the like the natural next thing, and they did it, and it was such a um like everybody's wondering if they would because the rights for the character are still up in the air right now. I don't think we fully know, and we might get to that topic later on in the podcast. But
Mm,
um yeah, but I'm like I wonder how they're going to do it because they we don't know if they have the rights and how are they going to portray that character on screen because we have Aquaman from DC, and this is, those two characters have always been compared because they were always that way in the comics. But I think they've interpreted this character for this movie in the best way possible because I thought Namor was such a great villain. I
yeah.
thought the movie looked great. The sound design, what they did with they're not Atlanteans. What are they called now? I don't even know if they have a
Uh,
name.
like
The blue
to
characters,
they're like tokens or takens or
Talokans,
tachyons. What?
Talokanians. They're from Talokan, is what they're calling
Yeah,
Atlantis in
Talokan.
this
All right.
universe.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, the other character that I was hyped to see was Ironheart. And I thought they did a cool job introducing the character and setting
Yeah.
her up for her own thing. But she was pretty cool in this movie. And I don't know like whatever major thoughts. I will say that um I don't know if like Thor Love and Thunder kind of prepared me for this, but it's like I'm like, okay, let me temper my hype expectations down a little bit. But I think like this movie was great, but I don't think it was as incredible as I was hoping it would be.
Hmm.
And like nothing really wrong with the movie. I have my issues with Letitia Wright as a person. I tried not to let that get in the way of me watching the show. I thought she did a good job in the movie. I think more so it was the writing of that character that I had the problem with. Like I understood where they were going for, but I don't know. It just felt weird. It felt like they were just trying to. I don't know. I just felt it odd. Like I love the reveal of Killmonger in her in the dream that she was having for she's trying to going
The
to the
ascendant plane.
yeah, the ancestral plane. And I thought it
Ancestral.
was a cool
Ancestral
effect
plane.
when
Ancestral.
she rose from the water and her outfit was dry. That was really cool. Um,
Hmm.
but ultimately, like when they were talking, and he's like, oh no, he's basically saying like you're the villain like me pretty much. And I'm like, I don't like
Yeah.
where they're bringing this character, and they ended up like turning it around at the end. But it felt like really, it kind of felt a little forced for me. So I
Yeah.
felt a little bit off for that. But like otherwise, I enjoyed the movie. It was fun.
Yeah. To me, I just felt like she was, her heart was full of like hate and betrayal because she couldn't save her brother and she
Yeah.
just wanted to watch the whole world burn. It was kind of like how T'Challa felt when he lost his dad and
Hmm.
he wanted to kill Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, even after they were saying he was innocent, he wanted to kill him so bad. But then, T'Challa even was like, all right, uh, I'm letting vengeance consume me. The same thing, how Shuri eventually, fought against it too. So I liked how they kind of showed how she's kind of like her brother in the same
Hmm.
way. So I enjoyed that. I liked seeing Ironheart. It was cool. Very interesting character, little mechanic, tech girl, very Tony Stark.
Hmm.
Ask. I don't know. I didn't really care for her suit. I didn't like the way the suit looked
Hmm.
at all. So obviously, it's a prototype. It's like her first one. I'm hoping it looks
Yeah.
better later. But yeah, I didn't really care for the suit. I'm just very picky with like mechanized suits. I really
Yeah.
like when they look nice because then I'm like, hell yeah. But when you look like you're in a Power Ranger costume,
Yeah,
like
it did.
yeah, like I don't like then I was like, nah, I don't it looked like a Power Ranger action figure. So I was like I looked like someone had like was holding the toy and was just flying her around. I was like, I don't know.
I yeah. I can
I
see
wasn't yeah,
people comparing it to the comic book outfit. The problem is like the comic book outfits, very much like the Iron Man armor, changes so drastically in
yeah,
between different iterations. Because I remember, like she had two suits in this movie, and the
right.
one at the end is like I think the more iconic one that people point to.
One
Um,
was mostly just a jetpack though. It was just to
yeah,
show that
it
she
was a
was
big
getting
like
there.
mechanical suit that had like it
Yeah,
wasn't like fully armored. You can see her. It was
yeah.
kind of like I think like Ripley in Aliens.
I was just gonna say the
Yeah,
same thing. Yeah, it was like that. Yeah,
yeah. But the second one I think is her Iron Heart armor, which she's not allowed to take with her. The Wakandans kept it at the end of the
yeah.
movie, so she's got to make a new one. Um, but
Which I would just say is kind of reminds me of like, Tony Stark's first suit was in a cave and it was built with a box of scraps. So, so like this will be her like box of scrap suit and then she'll just be like, well, you know
mm,
what? I can redo it, but with some better designs and some better like,
yeah,
tinker a bit. So I like where they're going.
I think they had a design set for this movie, and then the people working on the show were like, "We're going with a different direction," and then the director said, "Okay, let's write in a way that excuses why she doesn't have that armor anymore."
Yeah. Which is fair.
Yeah,
We can't have Wakanda giving a college. Was she in college?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like you can't give a college girl vibranium and just let her have it when it has weapons on it. So which makes sense why they didn't take it. So she's gonna have to build a new suit,
yeah.
which will probably still have weapons on it. But um yeah, no, it'll be interesting.
Captain America has vibranium armor now, right? I guess he has
Yes,
the
yeah,
shield also, but
yeah, he's got the shield and he has
yeah,
vibranium wings.
he's
So
the only
I mean,
person who's walking around in vibranium. I guess Winter Soldier, his armor. I guess now that's with Rocket Raccoon, so
yeah. Yeah, unless Winter Soldier has another vibranium arm, I have no idea.
he's gonna
So
get one in the Thunderbolts, but
yeah. So
uh,
yeah.
yeah, I think the suit was very much unique for the movie. I don't think it looks like the comic book version at all. Again, I'm really behind on comics, so I don't know if there's a newer version of that suit that looks like the one in the movie. But the last one I remembered was like pink and gold, and like it looked really weird to me, and I didn't really like that version of the suit, so I'm glad they didn't put that in the movie. But I think this is the one that we saw in the movie. I think is the most unique original design that I can think of for that character so far. I
Mhm.
would love to see what the one in the show is going to be.
Yeah.
But the first one I think they showed her making was more like Ironmonger, as a big giant mech. Then she made one that looks pretty much like Iron Man. So she was acting as Iron Man, and
Yeah.
then she ended up getting that like pink and gold like weird looking one. Um, and now there's this movie version which I think has been the best it's looked so far. So me
Okay.
knowing the comics outfits, I'm
Yeah.
like, this is much better. So
Okay. Yeah. Good. I mean, the movies always make them better. I
yeah,
just wasn't blown away by this suit, but obviously,
yeah, I
when
get
you
it.
look at anything, like if you look at, like the probably the best example I always think of is, what Aquaman looks like in comic books, and
Yeah.
then you have Jason
It's
Momoa, who's like this drunk, muscle built
yeah.
tattoo guy. I'm like, you look way better than the guy in the yellow and green tights
Yeah,
and the little
same with
fish
Wolverine. Like a lot of people
scales.
want him in the yellow and blue tights and everything, but like Logan
He
in the
looks
X-Men movies like looks better, right?
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
would you want him in that suit? He looks way better with like looking
Yeah.
like just like watching his clothes just get ripped apart and then him healing over top of them. Like it
Yeah.
looks
To
better.
to quote
The
Cyclops in that
jackets.
movie, what did you expect? Yellow spandex?
Yeah.
Uh, but let's talk about what suits are awesome in this movie, and that's Shuri's Black Panther suit.
Yeah,
Cause
I definitely like her suit a lot.
yeah, it very much looks kind of like Killmonger inspired because it's got the black and gold.
Yeah.
It looks really
I
cool.
mean, technically, she built Killmonger's suit
She
too.
did, yeah, yeah,
Killmonger just took it, so it is just, but basically supposed to be. It kind of gives you. She is kind of like her cousin in a way. Her
yeah.
and her cousin were both into the gold design. They both went for that one, and she kind of has a bit of his rage. But I like that she sort of eventually went to her brother. So they did hint a lot on Killmonger a lot and bring him into like kind of more in the family and stuff. It was actually
Mhm.
really interesting with all that.
Yeah. And I made a point to notice, I don't think it's a big deal, but I've just seen like every actor in Marvel has talked about like when they're like the lead in the role and they're the superhero they got to put on the costume, how much they bulk up for the role. And
Hmm.
it didn't seem like Letitia Wright did that for this movie, which I'm not saying is a good or bad thing because I think there's like I've seen all the comments, or I've seen all the discussions and comments from the actors and stuff in regards to that and whether it's a good thing or bad thing or healthy or not. And I just thought it was interesting because I've never seen an actor just like not bulk up for the role.
It makes sense for her character. She was just
Hmm.
like the skinny science girl.
Yeah.
She's not
But like
she's
I've even seen like
fit, but
characters where
not.
like it doesn't make sense for them to be like jacked and
Yeah,
they still are for the role.
yeah. Because hers was
Yeah.
kind of like last minute. We're gonna make you Black Panther. So
Yeah.
hers was kind of like, oh, I guess it would be weird if all of a sudden she was like huge and then she's like, I'm gonna be Black Panther now. I'm like, no, because really you're already stronger once you have
Hmm.
the herb anyways. So what'd you think of them, after Killmonger? So we're going into a lot more spoilers here. Like after Killmonger having to burn all the plants, what'd you think of their way of sort of bringing it back in this one?
I thought that giving her the bracelet was like, here, have this plot device.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, yeah, I mean, I was like, well, we're gonna make synthetic natural resources sort of out of a bracelet out of as best we can. So
Yeah.
like I was like, okay, so you're going as natural as possible because the bracelet was made out of fibers of a different flower or
Yeah,
something. So I
underwater
was
and
like,
yeah,
yeah. So she's she's probably gonna have a little bit different. I don't know. I wonder if it'll have like any. I probably won't. They probably won't
different
go into
effects.
it, but yeah,
Yeah,
different effects just because it
could
was
be.
based
Yeah,
off of the same. It was based off of a different vibranium flower. So
I'd say that's a possibility.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
they can definitely explore it now.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah, that's like that's something that's open to them now. Yeah.
yep.
Um, did they make more? They were making. Yeah, they were planting more, so they're making more of those.
Yeah, they're planting more and probably gonna try and make them more. They're gonna 3D print them with vibranium tech, which is just apparently like infinite capabilities.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna plant them so maybe they could just continue to grow like actual Black Panther protector plants. So that's pretty cool. I forget what they actually if they even call that anything. Just
The
the heart shaped herb is just
yeah,
all they
heart
call it.
shape herb. I think that's what they
Yeah.
call it. What did you think of because we were kind of having that discussion in the movie, but what did you think of Queen Ramonda's decision on Okoye after the US mission? Like, did
Uh,
you have any thoughts? Because I think we were both like I think some of us were like, why is she doing that? And I'm like, well, no, she's right, because she failed her mission,
Yeah, she
right?
failed the mission, and she failed it kind of.
Yeah.
She failed two things. I forgot what the hell the other one
I
was.
think everything she was saying was on point. He's
Yeah,
like, when Killmonger took the throne, you took his side and you abandoned my family.
yeah.
And then you promised to keep my daughter safe and you
Yeah.
lost her. So it's
Yeah,
like,
they reference a lot from the
yeah,
first movie, so I definitely recommend. Like, I watched it the night before we watched it, so
that's a good
I would,
idea, yeah.
I definitely recommend watching them almost back to back if you can, because there's just like even little things that they kind of bring back up. And you're like, I didn't realize they were gonna mention so much of
Yeah.
Killmonger's thing. Like, like you watch Iron Man 2, they barely mention anything with his last villain, or same thing with like all of them, right? Like they don't
Yeah.
mention anybody's like other character, but Killmonger comes up a lot. I think I like that a
Well,
lot because it was
I'll make an
technically family.
exception to that comment though. In Spider-Man: Far From Home, so the second Spider-Man movie is
Yeah.
when they brought up the first Iron Man villain.
When did they bring him up again?
Because one of the
Oh,
scientists that
yeah, yeah,
Beck recruited was the guy
yeah,
who like he yelled at him.
yeah,
Tony Stark was able to build this in a
yeah,
cave with a box of scraps.
yeah. That was so much longer though. But they barely bring up like the next movies like back to back. So that was cool how
Mhm.
much they brought up Killmonger, because not only is it a villain, but it technically is a family member that they didn't know about. So they're
Yeah.
probably, it's still something they probably talk about often. So that was kind of cool to see them still talking about it. Um, Yeah, no, I enjoyed the movie a lot. Like if when we go to our ranking, it's pretty high on mine. So
Well, a couple things I want to bring up in the movie, and I keep forgetting because I'm watching this trailer on loop here. Um, but one of the things is Namor being a mutant. I don't know if you caught that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So he's like I was born a mutant, whatever. He is basically Marvel's first mutant. So it's cool that they're bringing that up in the movies as well.
yeah,
And they're actually mentioning it. Um, the other thing is, I guess we could talk about the credit scene if you want to
yeah.
do that. So he's got a son, and I watched the scene over again. So it
Hmm.
sounds like, and I don't know if I got this accurately enough. I might have to like watch it again. It sounds like before Infinity War, so sometime after Black Panther and before Infinity War, him and Nakia had a child, or they were pregnant at least,
Yeah.
and they were talking about the child growing up in Haiti, away from
The throne.
away from the throne. Then Infinity War happened. He got dusted, and I guess Nakia and the kid grew up in that time.
Yeah, because 5 years
Is
have passed,
Yeah,
so they stayed away. I'm assuming, yeah. So for people who haven't seen it, or
yeah,
this is like the big spoiler at the end of the credit scene, Nakia, the girlfriend, they sort of like mention a small amount in the first Black Panther movie that you never see again after that. They end up having a kid together, and that's not revealed to the ending post credit scene. So that's probably the biggest spoiler of the movie. His name is his. He has a Haitian name. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think his name is Toussaint. Toussaint, and
yeah.
then
It sounds right. Yeah,
he has his Wakanda name, which is Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. So it
T'Challa
is really
Junior.
cool. Yeah, so it is really
Second.
cool because now going forward, if Shuri doesn't want to do Black Panther anymore, somewhere long down the road, we could get a King T'Challa
Yeah,
again as Black Panther. So it's like their way of still having T'Challa Black Panther if there's stuff they want to write with that
yeah. It's not
later.
gonna be
But
Chadwick Boseman, but it'll
yeah,
be a
and
different
it's still
character.
too fresh to make another T'Challa Black
Yeah,
Panther anyway. So I'm
something
happy
that they
it's a
can open up in
female.
the future,
Yeah,
possibly.
for sure, absolutely. So at least if there's something they want to bring in the comic books to life, so that's cool. Um, yeah, so I'm assuming then he obviously randomly gets dusted that they were
Yeah,
prepared
and
for,
then
but obviously
Queen
the
Ramona, or Ramonda,
she knows,
she didn't get dusted, so she must have visited them in that
right?
time, in that span.
Yeah, but they were still wanted to keep it quiet, so
Yeah,
nobody knew.
and we
They were
know,
trying to tell Shuri,
yeah.
but she
Well, we
never.
know Shuri was dusted. Like I think that's been
Oh,
pointed
is
out
it
before
okay?
in the past.
Oh
So
man,
she
poor.
comes back after Endgame, and then
Yeah,
They fight in Endgame, and they come back and then realize that T'Challa's sick, and that she's trying to like race to save his life. And in that
Yeah.
time, she doesn't take any calls or anything from Nakia. Her mother doesn't tell
Yeah.
her at all that her brother had a child. Um, but she was trying to at some point in the movie, right? And then they got interrupted by
Right.
Namor. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's multiple times in the movie where this either there's
Mhm.
she hangs up on Nakia. They're very subtle hints, like the AI tries to let her know that
Yeah.
Nakia's on the line, and she doesn't answer. Her mom says that we should talk about something. Like I tell you about your brother, and she doesn't. They're interrupted, or she doesn't respond to it, whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's very. There's just cool things that they led to with that. What I can't quite understand. So obviously the Atlanteans, I forget their name. They're not Atlanteans, but whatever they are, they're like Wakanda people underwater.
From
What?
Talokan.
What's that?
Talokan.
Talokan. So
I
what?
hope I'm saying that right.
What? So how did that work? They took their own plant, and a bunch of them died. And then when they came back to life, they were blue.
Yeah, they needed water.
But the mother was pregnant with him.
She was
So
pregnant with him, and he was born underwater.
yeah. So that made him a mutant,
No, I
and
don't
then
think that
everybody.
made him a mutant. I think he was a mutant, but I don't know yet. We'll have to see because Marvel's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
thought it
like
was.
planting seeds
Yeah,
for mutants and how they work in the MCU, but we don't
yeah.
fully know yet. So
So yeah, what I got from it was that they took a plant and that made him a mutant because he was from a. It was like well taking a plant while pregnant, and it's like I don't know. And then after that, they all have babies underwater, and it's all more natural, and they're not all taking plants while pregnant. So I was like, is that why he's different? I was like, why specifically him?
no,
But that could be
I
it.
think it's a genetic mutation. I think
So just
that's
she's just a mutant, and that's
yeah.
why they're like, yeah, you're the king because you got feather feet. So
Mhm.
yeah,
You're the
so
king because you have feather feet.
yeah. So I mean, honestly though, Namor,
Yeah.
I don't know the actor's name. I never look at actors' names, but I liked him a lot. I thought they made Namor look really cool because to me, I was
Oh,
like, this is
he looks so stupid in the comics. So
yeah.
he looks great in this movie.
Okay, because like in the comic books, I
Yeah.
haven't looked at them. I was literally just gonna
He just wears like a
assume.
speedo. That's it.
Yeah, I'm picturing the character that they
Yeah.
have in Rick and Morty, who's like
Okay.
there's like a king under the water in Rick and Morty,
Okay.
and that's who I'm picturing is the same thing. I think his name is Namor as well in it. I don't know for sure. I can't remember. Um, but I picture another really bad speedo suit Aquaman.
Yep.
So that's why I was like, he probably looks terrible.
Hmm.
But in this one, he looks great. I like all the piercings to make him look more tribal and stuff to his like heritage
Hmm.
and his religions. And I was like,
Yeah.
he looks so cool.
It's a Mayan
Uh,
heritage. This is what they were
yeah,
going with.
yeah, the Mayans like Mayans
Mm.
already look cool. All their stuff like that is like it's honestly really cool history. I like uh, although the feathers on your feet are weird,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
made it look so good. Like
Hmm.
watching him fly around and just shred things apart with his spear staff thing he has, what is super entertaining. And he is a very threatening
Yeah.
opponent.
Hmm.
But although as a threatening as he is, I feel like they found a way to take him down just as quickly. So I was like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
weird.
I
I
was like,
thought that
man,
was weird too.
I was like, he's really easy to take down. Turns out, so I was
To
like,
be honest,
he's
like one of the things that kind of like my expectations for this movie weren't met. I was expecting, this is based on the comics, I was expecting Wakanda to get fucked up. Like I thought
yeah,
there was like Wakanda was not going to exist anymore.
yeah,
But I think that kind of ruins their plans of stuff that they have going forward because we've kind of seen seeds of that being planted throughout the movie where we had that side story with Everett Ross and Val, don't call her that,
right,
which apparently they were married at some point. But she
right,
was always under she was always on to him being um like tight with Wakanda and knew that he would try to hide evidence or anything, so she's trying to get more information from him slipping up, which
hmm
ended up working. She arrested him. And then the Wakandans set him free. So I'm guessing he's in Wakanda now.
Yeah.
After they captured him, but they're kind of saying, like, she was hinting that, yeah, the U.S. is ready to go to war with Wakanda to take their resources. And the way
Yeah.
the movie was ended, how they subdued Namor, his Namorita, one of the Atlanteans or Tarokanians or whatever you want to call it, um, she was like, "Why did you give up and or let them? Like, why did we surrender? Why didn't we attack Wakanda?" He's like, at some point, Wakanda is going to ask for our help because they have no allies,
Hmm.
and when that happens, that's when they have the advantage. That's when they hold all the cards
Yeah.
because they're gonna say, "Yeah, we're gonna help you, but we're gonna attack everyone, and you're
Yeah.
gonna help us with your resources of vibranium." So
Yeah, I this was me and Jess were talking about too. We were like, yeah, I think it's obviously not a good thing. He's like, yeah, I got allies now, but like if I have to help out, we're gonna either destroy the whole world together
yeah,
or I'm gonna own I don't know all your vibranium or something
yeah.
dumb.
Our our theories on how that's gonna work, I think, are gonna come because I have theories that are gonna be in our Phase 5 discussion talk. So we'll hold off on
Okay.
that. Um, Last thing I think I want to bring up is the AI comment that she made. She's like, the
Yeah.
AI, she has an AI throughout the whole movie that's helping her out, and
Yeah.
and Riri and other people. Also, what did you think of the new suits for the Dora Milaje?
That's what I wanted to. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted to make sure I talk about that. Is that something from comic books?
I think so.
What were their
The
names? They
midnight
were
midnight something. I can't. Midnight Angels, I think they're called.
Midnight Angels, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know anything about them. There's two of them in this
Hmm.
movie. Uh, they were cool, but like I want to know more about them. My girlfriend, because they have these like sweet helmets
Yeah.
with like kind of like these like flowing. I don't know if you want to call them like dreads or ribbons. I don't know what that's
Yeah.
made of. My girlfriend thought they looked like predators,
They
like
kind of did. They kind of
the
look
aliens
like
from
it.
Predators.
Yeah.
The way they jumped around and whatever, except for the fact that they fly.
Hmm.
But I was like, what are these suits? Like, I want to know what they do. They kind of looked. They remind me of like something from like Moon Knight and Iron Man, like mixed
Yeah.
together. I was like, what are you guys? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't
It's
know.
good.
I needed more.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. I don't know much about them, to be honest.
Yeah,
But they all had like this AI that they would like a Jarvis AI throughout the whole movie. And they
yeah,
made just like one comment on it to explain the AI. And then Shuri's like, "Yeah, my AI is not like you see in the movies. It listens to me." I'm like, doesn't this take place in the same universe as Ultron?
yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
didn't Ultron just try to destroy the world?
Yeah, it would have. Yeah, I felt once you said that, I was
Yeah.
like, I felt like that was a missed. Like they missed something there. They should have been like, my AI is not Ultron, mother. Like she
Yeah.
definitely should have said something like that. I was like, what a missed opportunity.
that's
Yeah,
that's really weird.
definitely would have been funnier.
Any last things you want to talk about on Black Panther Wakanda Forever before we move on to our next topic?
Um, Not that I could think of. I liked the villain. I liked Shuri being Black Panther. That was good.
Hmm.
Um, they hit you right with the death of T'Challa right at the beginning of the movie, so
Yeah.
it's pretty abrupt immediately. Um, I like the Midnight Angels. I just want to. I wish I saw more. Like there's a few things in this movie I wish I saw more. I think that's why you said like it was a good movie, but it could have been better. Like we saw the Mayan ruins underwater, Talocan, whatever their
Yeah, I
home
hope
world is,
I hope
their
more is
home.
explored. I think
Yeah,
they
because
will
we
explore
just
more because there was, I don't know if it's still in production, but there
yeah,
was they were mentioning that they're going to do a Wakanda series for Disney Plus,
okay,
and I haven't heard anything since. So I don't know if that's
yeah.
still the case. So I hope they
'Cause
explore it more.
although you see the underwater world, I was like, here we go, we're gonna see Marvel's version of Atlantis.
Yeah.
It was very dark being underwater, and we saw it for maybe less than 5 minutes. Like I want to say it was like 5 minutes. We were down there. Like we
Yeah.
barely saw. And if they were like talking, they were like usually in a small room with walls. And I was like, I can't see your city. I can't see your whatever. So Like
I
what we
think
did see was
also
cool, but it
I,
wasn't enough.
I think also the in terms of what we can see, because my cousin made that same comment when I told him like I just saw the movie. He saw it in theaters, which I'm surprised because he says he doesn't like Marvel movies. Um, but I'm like, yeah, I just saw the movie. He's like, could you actually like see anything? Because we couldn't see anything in the theaters. I'm like, well, yeah, like we could. There was a point halfway through where my brother changed the settings on the TV.
Yeah.
Had the I think he had the HDR settings like off, or
Okay.
they were just weren't working properly. But once they changed those settings, I'm like, I can see everything clearly now. So I think it was just like, if you're watching this movie, I would highly recommend you have an HDR TV and you turn on the HDR settings, and that your brightness settings and everything are appropriate to what they should be. And
Yeah.
that you have a really bright TV. I might watch this movie again on my TV because I know like all those kind of dark scenes and everything with the specific lighting look fantastic on my TV. So I just want to see how it looks. But yeah, there were moments where like things were really dark. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of dark scenes where I just that was like the only kind of problem I had. Where I was like, why is this so insanely dark? I was
mhm,
like, it's so dark. I don't have I feel like I'm missing or not getting everything. Whereas when you see Wakanda,
yeah,
you're like in Africa, like where I guess yeah, it's in Africa. You're in Africa in the
yep,
city Wakanda. It's like super sunny, bright colors, forest, everything. Like it's vibrant. Underwater, it was very blue and like maybe some I don't know. It was
yeah,
vibrant but like
very
dark.
dark. Yeah,
Like yeah, because I wouldn't say it's vibrant. It's just dark and it's kind of like
hmm,
there's like glowing stuff underwater, I
yeah,
guess. Like kind
exactly.
of. I think they made their own sun or something underwater. Like he had
Oh
his own
yeah,
version of a sun and you could kind of so they're all like, "Yeah, well, this is our sun." And we I don't
yeah,
know. It was something. But it was
and
I
then
didn't get enough. I wanted to see more of Black Panther.
yeah,
I wanted to see more of the Midnight Angels. I wanted to see more of the Namor's homeworld and I don't know. Everything else was pretty good. I thought the Wakanda ship was kind of weird because they had like a big ship and it just looked like a. I was like, why do you guys own like a freighter? Like I was like, that was
yeah.
weird.
There, it
Like
was just
so
one scene, right? It was like,
it was odd.
Are you talking about that one scene where they were like building their defenses and everything for or like building that ship um to like distract Namor like before that big battle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was just one shot where like there was like this big ship and they're just and it felt very out of place. It was just like one single shot and then they moved on. Then they didn't cut back to it.
Well, then there was just the ship. Even though just the ship they were fighting on, I
Yeah.
was like, why? I was like, why does Wakanda own this giant
I think
like
it was I think they made
freighter?
that. They made that in that shot that I was
So
talking about
I was like,
just
how
to
long?
fight Namor.
I was like, how did you guys make? Like, I know Wakanda is a great tech, but I feel
I
like
think
that still requires so
they were
much
showing
time.
them mining the mountains. Like they were
Uh,
taking that vibranium from the
I thought
mountains to build that ship.
when
That's
they
how
were
fast they work.
that's what they're doing. I thought they
Yeah.
were. I thought that was them relocating because after Wakanda got hit and they like
It
flooded
it
kind of some of
kind of
Wakanda,
looked that
destroyed.
way at first, but no, I think they were building the ship to fight Namor.
We'll
They
have to watch
built
it again
they
because
built a fucking boat.
because I thought that was them moving. Because at one time they're like they sort of mentioned it quickly. They're like
Yeah.
M'Baku said that we are okay to move into the mountains while Wakanda is being well since Wakanda is no longer safe right now because Wakanda flows through the water,
Hmm.
which means they can just come up from the water at any time, right? So I think that was them moving and building like quick houses in the mountains. That's what I thought that was.
We'll have to watch it again because
Yeah,
I think they're building a like a boat just to
because
like
I built that
surprise them.
they built a boat hella freaking quick, but it
Yeah.
didn't even look cool. I was like, you just built like a giant,
No, it's just a
like,
wedge.
just yeah.
It's just a
I was
big
like,
wedge.
I was like, if you're gonna build a boat really quick, I was like, at least make it a cool boat that you guys will use again, other than one purpose.
I think it literally
Uh,
had one purpose. I think
yeah,
they tore a chunk out of the mountains like a giant
yeah,
wedge that would float in the water just to fight Namor.
yeah. I don't know. That's weird. It was a weird. It was a weird part that I wasn't quite sure about. I thought that was. I was like, because I thought you guys built this hella quick, or you guys just had this really dumb boat for a long time. I was like, I don't really understand what that was. But yeah, no, all good. Otherwise, I liked a lot of the movie parts.
Mhm.
Um,
I'll
We did
definitely
live.
rewatch it again. Did you like it
Yeah.
more or less than the first movie?
I don't know. I think I liked the first one more just because of how much I liked seeing like we didn't get a lot of Namor's homeworld in this one, whereas the first Black Panther, we got to come to Wakanda for the first time. We got
Yeah.
to watch their challenge fights. We get to see like the mountains literally move back, and then remember
Yeah.
like the mountains literally move back into the walls, and they could have
Hmm.
like a I don't know a path for the what did they call that? The
Hmm.
battle cliffs or something, the challenge cliffs.
Yeah.
Either way, it was I think I like the first one better, but I really did like a lot of Shuri's character development in this one, so that was cool.
Yeah, I'd say the first one's better too.
Yeah.
Um, let's move on to our next topic, which is very quick. It's just there's a character or an actor from the Agents of Shield show. Somebody was just trolling her, like online, just talking about her acting skills, I guess. And I think the comment was like, I'll pull it up right here. Actually, I think I got the tweet. So the thread started with like I don't want to give this guy too much attention, but it's very important in terms of the context.
Just say a fan or a not fan. We don't
Yeah,
need to use
yeah.
his name.
So like somebody I don't know posted a
Troll.
GIF, and then somebody said, yeah, if you if they were to introduce this character as a character in like they did with something else, I don't want to spoil too much things with this context. Like, do you think that this character would still be played by this actor? That actor being Chloe Bennett from Agents of Shield, one of the stars of the show. And this person said, I've said this before and I will say it until I see something change my mind. I can't imagine Chloe Bennett sharing the screen with talent like Florence Pugh, Haley Steinfeld, or Samuel L. Jackson. Just not the same caliber of actress. Somebody responded with that Will Smith meme, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth.
Uh,
And then uh, somebody responds, just completely out of left field and is honestly unnecessary. Her acting, yeah, she's an amazing actress, and her performance throughout all 7 seasons of the show was incredible. And then he responds, or they said something else. He says, best acting on a soap opera isn't really a major accomplishment. So he considers Agents of Shield a soap opera. So her response to this is just the only response,
yeah.
and there's so much to take away from just this one response. Just, hey man, you seem like a dot 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 mean loser. Also, I have a strong feeling your tweets aren't going to age well. So in that entire context of her not being a good actor, not being the same caliber of MCU actors, not being able to share the same screen presence as them, and
Right.
her portraying the role of the character that she played on the show,
Can I ask what character she played? Because I never watched Agents of Shield.
I know you're going to watch it though. And we're
Uh,
like I'm gonna have my brother and Yvonne watch the show too after our sometime after our Netflix rewatch, which
I don't know.
we're almost done.
Maybe I'll watch it after The Last of
Okay,
Us. Last
so
of Us is too good right now.
yeah, without spoiling, so for the beginning of the show, her character's name is Sky. So
Okay.
she's one of the main characters of the show. She starts off as a hacker on the show. She's a very important character. She does have a character in the comics, um, which would be like, who the fuck is Sky from Marvel Comics? Not exactly that straightforward, but she's very important to the lore of Shield, and and some other things we've seen from the MCU, and maybe some stuff going forward with some of the projects we have. Um, but she's a very important character. She's been on all 7 seasons. So that's why people are naturally asking if she's going to show up again. So with all that context, her saying, "Hey, your tweets are not going to age well," to
Yeah.
me, that sounds like she's going to be in something coming up soon. She's at least in talks.
Yeah.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah. That sounds fair to me. Either that or yeah, it could be something hopefully embedded where she's like I have there's works or
Mm-hmm.
talks of me coming on something better, or it's just another one of those things where people write something and then you're like, hey, you're gonna get in trouble for that tweet later down the road, or if you're
Yeah.
If your employees find out, I don't know who wrote it. If it's just some no-name guy or some other actor, I don't
Yeah.
know who this is, but
Now here's my additional context I want to include on here. There was a couple actors mentioned in there. Florence Pugh, Haley Steinfeld, and Samuel L. Jackson. Haley Steinfeld, I personally don't think we're going to see until an Avengers movie. I could be wrong. I don't know. Florence Pugh is going to be in Thunderbolts, so maybe this character shows up in Thunderbolts.
okay.
I'd say the more likely scenario that a lot of people have been theorizing is Samuel L. Jackson, because Samuel L. Jackson was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at some point, like a cameo role. And he's got a series coming up called Secret Invasion. And this is where people were considering that she might show up. Actually, I think about a year ago, she was upset with fans that were like kind of ambushing her in public, asking her what's going on in the show. She said, I honestly don't know. It's getting out of hand, and I need people to stop ambushing me in public.
Yeah.
Seems completely different to what she's saying right now. And we know Marvel does reshoots. They do last minute changes and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure there's been reshoots and stuff for Secret Invasion, if I recall. So
yeah, I think you mentioned that before.
Yeah. My guess is if we're going to see this character coming soon, it would be in Secret Invasion, which is happening early this year. So, very, very likely possibility. And then we will know for sure the answer to our questions on whether that show is still part of the MCU or not. That's always the big argument now. So is that going to make you want to watch the show?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know. I've always wanted to watch it. I was hoping there was going to be more, like it was going to, if it intertwines more, then probably. Like, I don't know if any other characters from the MCU that are in it other than, I'm sure, Phil Coulson. Is it Miranda Hill? Is she in it?
Yep.
And then you said,
keep in mind, a lot of these are just cameo roles.
Okay, yeah. So I was like, I didn't want too many cameo roles.
There's a lot of cameos, but it's its own show. Like, you're introduced to the cast, and for the most part, you stick with that main cast.
Yeah, I mean, I like Marvel. I always like everything they do. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it while I was on TV. Now that I can just binge it all on like Disney Plus, I'm definitely gonna be more open to watching it. And now that there's so many more other like shows, like now I'm probably gonna be more open to watching it. Like, there's so many shows me and my girlfriend always have to watch now to just keep up. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably more likely to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. than to finish She-Hulk. But does She-Hulk open up a lot more going forward? Like, I know Daredevil's
What do you mean?
I know Daredevil's in it, but like, is there like She-Hulk?
There are a lot of references to the MCU.
I know there's a lot with like in the beginning, and like Bruce Banner's in it for a bit, and then he leaves. There's references.
I would
to
say
Bruce Banner
there's
Tony
more
at the bar or something.
There's more cameos from MCU actors in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. than there are in She-Hulk, but She-Hulk as a show is very MCU reference heavy. Like, it relies on a lot of those references.
Yeah.
So She-Hulk will talk about the MCU a lot. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does talk about the MCU a lot. But if you're looking for like who's going to show up as a cameo, that's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., not She-Hulk.
Okay. Does Tony Stark ever come out in Shield as Agents of Shield at all?
No. Are you kidding me? He's not going to show up on TV.
Yeah,
Robert
I
Downey
think
Jr.?
so.
No.
Yeah.
No. Hey.
Not Chris Pratt and us, or
No.
not Chris Evans either, probably.
No.
No. Which is so weird to be a part of Shield, and they're like, no, Captain America's busy.
Yeah, there's
Like,
back in that time. Back in that time was obvious. It's like, how are you going to make a Shield show when obviously you're not going to get these actors on the show? And yep, case in point, they could not get those actors on the show. They got whatever actors they could, but not those actors.
Yeah, no, they just want to do the box office movies. And
let's do this one real quick, because I want to get to our phase 4 thoughts. This was something I wanted to bring up in the last topic. There's a site called the Geek Twins, which I think this is very unfortunate timing, because when I was checking before the podcast, the website doesn't seem to be working. I think they're going through some changes. There will be a new website soon. But they've been following the movie rights to Marvel characters for many years, and they've been updating it as things change. You know, the acquisition of Fox, or at least Fox's like studios or whatever, the movie side. Spider-Man, you know, the deal with Spider-Man, all that stuff. What was your question?
No, I have
Oh,
a
okay.
question. Yeah, I'll wait till after.
Okay, so here, let me get rid of this here. Okay, so here's the current graphic. There might be a newer one. Again, the website's down, but this is the most current one that I was able to find. So this is version 9.61. Just to look at. I mean, I could try to find the earlier versions and like go through a cycle. I think they have a GIF set up of the changes that they've made. But I mentioned them on Twitter after we had our discussion about like who owns the movie rights to Bug, because James Gunn was trying to get that character in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and we found out that Hasbro Studios owns the movie rights to that character. I've messaged the Geek Twins and I'm like, hey, looks like you might have to update your graphic because there's some more information. They found a lot more information on other characters, and I'm sure when their website's up, they have details of why they made the changes, so you can look it up when their website's working again. So shout out to the Geek Twins. Maybe give them a follow. But yeah, Hasbro Studios owns the rights to the Micronauts, which includes Bug and several other characters. Baron Karza and Rom the Space Knight, which is another character that James Gunn was trying to put into the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I'm not familiar with a lot of those characters, just Bug. Bug's the only one. I'm not familiar with Doc Savage, but Marvel doesn't own the movie rights to that character. Same with Conan the Barbarian. And Super Pro, which is owned by NFL Productions. So these are just minor characters that you wouldn't think about, that nobody ever bothered to look up the movie rights for. But now we have that information somehow. So they got sources there. One that I like to bring up a lot. So there's the Hulk characters, which Universal Pictures kind of owns the rights to. Like Marvel can't do solo projects on these. I guess She-Hulk goes outside of that because She-Hulk used to be in that bubble, but I guess is not. But like, yeah, Hulk, the leader, Abomination, all that stuff. Even Namor is under Universal Pictures. They can't have solo movie rights, or they can't have solo movies. I mean, Marvel can, but Universal Pictures has the right to first refusal, and I'm not too sure how that works. But like, rather than deal with Universal, like handling any of that in any sort of way, Marvel just puts those characters in side stuff. They're like side characters, cameo roles, right? That's why Hulk is in Thor Ragnarok instead of his own solo movie. The rumor is that those rights might be going back to Marvel this year, next year, or something like that. So maybe that's going to change and be updated. They got a bubble here for the Sony characters, Spider-Man characters. Now, interestingly, for like contract reasons and how these characters are kind of like half Spider-Man characters, Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, and Kingpin are split rights between Sony and Marvel. They can both use those characters if they wanted to in their own things. So they share those rights. And now this is one I don't agree with. They're citing sources from rumors. They're saying before all the X-Men characters, Fantastic Four and all that stuff was under Marvel, and Marvel owns the 20th Century Fox now. There's rumors that contractual obligations towards the actors in those movies are keeping Marvel from doing anything with those characters in their movies portrayed by anybody else other than the characters from those movies. So that's why we haven't seen that. The theory is that's why we haven't seen any X-Men show up at all in the Marvel movies so far. The exception being Wolverine, which is planned to be which is part of Deadpool 3 because he's being portrayed by Hugh Jackman. So that's the one exception. And of course split rights with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which has always been the case for Marvel. I don't agree with that because I think that just came from a random rumor. Like I didn't see any like solid source for that. So this is the one part of the graphic that I don't agree with. But otherwise, it's interesting to look at all of these characters and what Marvel can and can't do with these characters. I don't know if you've ever seen that, and also there's Stan Lee sitting out on the side here because
Yeah, I definitely want to get that chart because that's
Yeah, I'll send it to you. There's
Alright.
also a Deadpool GIF here that says, or image says, "Hi Reddit."
That's funny.
When the
Solid.
website's up, I'll share the page because they have like sources for all that stuff, so it's really cool to look at. So if you're ever interested, when the website's working, go check out the Geek Twins.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give them a follow. Also, I just realized I can't. When did they get rid of /host on Twitch?
/house?
No, /host.
Oh,
I'm going
host.
to your chat.
A long time ago.
I was just trying to host our channel and I can't.
Yeah, just /raid.
So I have to hit /raid and
Yeah.
then click on and then put the @spawn track games.
Yep.
Does that mean when you go to my channel, then my top thing will be me then, or that it'll be us? I mean, instead of whatever
Yes.
my
Yes.
auto host was.
That should still be the case. Yeah, it pretty much functions the same.
Yeah, that's weird.
Let's
I didn't know that.
Let's talk about Phase 4.
Did you want to talk? Yeah, okay. Did you want to rank our Phase 4? What we
Want to
thought?
rank them right now? Tell me
Yeah,
your
you guys want-
rankings. I gotta
My
look mine up. Hold on, let me get. I think I didn't have mine ready.
My rankings. If I'm gonna do the shows first. My movies are still like.
I'll
I
put
don't
up
know.
I'll put up Phase 4 on Wikipedia so we have a list to look at.
Okay. Let me go now. I want to wait till the
No,
list is
no,
up.
you can go. You can go.
Go. It's difficult. I really enjoyed Moon Knight. I
Mhm.
just wanted more. Like it was a very good show.
You're
For what
doing
it
the
was.
shows first, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Okay.
shows first. Yeah, I think Moon Knight. Like, I really like it. I could watch it again. It just felt like it was missing something. Like, we didn't get enough of Moon Knight. We got a lot of like his background story. We didn't get a lot of uh himself. Like, I wanted to see Moon Knight do more Moon Knight things, I guess.
Oh, like
So it
the
was kind of
actual
like his
like persona of Moon Knight.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I didn't get to see him do a lot of his like fighting and stuff. And a lot of the times he was doing his fighting, it was like all of a sudden he woke up and he was like, "Oh shit, everybody's dead." And I was like, "Yeah, I wanted to see that part, the part where you kill everybody and everyone's on the floor."
Yeah, it kind
He
of
just
gives
wa-
away the ending though that there's a third persona.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I understand that. I see why they did it, but that's why I wouldn't rank it as high. Maybe Moon Knight season 2 or a movie with him somewhere
Mhm.
down the line would be really cool. But I liked Moon Knight a lot. I think Loki's. I think I'll go by them right now. I would Loki's my favorite. Then Moon Knight. Then Hawkeye.
Yeah. You can talk about the shows because we have like
Sorry, yeah.
when we started Hip Hop's MCU, it was
Yeah.
during What If. We missed a big chunk of Phase 4 that we've never talked about.
Yeah.
So like you can use this as a chance for reflection on the shows and everything. What you
Yeah,
thought.
absolutely. I definitely think that doesn't that's comes up pretty blurry for me. Hang on one second. Let me see
Oh,
if
the
I can
screen. You want me to send you the?
sorry. No, you're good. It's just it
Okay.
was just I just enlarged it. Oh, I didn't put what if
Now
in there.
this list does not include the specials. We're including the specials on our ranking here. So
Sure.
Werewolf by Night and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Yeah.
These are the Disney Plus projects.
Oh boy. My list. I think I'm gonna go with Loki as number 1.
Solid choice.
Because I like it. I love that one probably the most. Um I would put Moon Knight as just its show as itself as 2. Whether I would watch it again like as many times as possibly Falcon and Winter Soldier, probably not. Like, I'd probably watch Falcon and Winter Soldier all the way through just for all the action and seeing Sam become Captain America is very cool. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna go Loki, then Moon Knight, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm gonna go 4. My 4th favorite is What If.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
I'll go 5 will be Hawkeye.
Wow. Okay.
Um, Then probably if I want to put it in there, I'll throw the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. However, that will be one I probably watch like every Christmas anyway.
Just like Hawkeye.
Because, yeah, like.
I
But
didn't
like
watch
Guardians of
Hawkeye
the
this Christmas. I was planning to, but I
Yeah.
didn't find the time for it.
But like Guardians is only 45 minutes. It's not a whole series. Like
Yeah.
I could watch that. Whereas once I watch the first episode of Hawkeye, now I'm
Mhm.
committed, and now I gotta
Yeah.
put in the time to watch all these episodes. So, I will put. I guess we'll do What If Hawkeye. I'll do Guardians as 6, but I would kind of put that almost outside the circle because I would watch that
Mhm.
for Christmas. Whereas, and then the other one, Werewolf by Midnight. Is that what it is?
Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night. I would
Mhm.
watch that on Halloween again. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that one a lot. So I'll watch it more, not just because it's not a commitment. So I'll put Werewolf as 7.
Mhm.
And then I'm gonna go the Groot shorts
Mhm.
as 8. And then I'm gonna do 9, 10, and 11. I'll do WandaVision as 9, Miss
You
Marvel
like
is 10, and
okay,
then
and
She-Hulk is 11.
I understand your list. Yes, I understand your list. This is
Only because
completely different from mine.
yeah, only because WandaVision is a very slow start.
Mhm.
So to get through with the like 70s laugh track stuff, I can't stand laugh
Yeah.
tracks. Like there's very few movies I like or TV shows on television that I'll get through that.
Mhm.
Miss Marvel only because as much as I like the character and her powers, it's only 6 episodes and I only finished 3 of them. And then She-Hulk has to be last because I haven't even finished it, so I can't
Yeah.
even give it a fair judgment yet. Maybe my list will change when I finish it, but
Yeah.
I saw a Hulk twerk and I was kind of over it. So I was like, I'm good. I was like, I'm all right. So that's my list. But but with that list, I'll probably still watch like Guardians. I have it as 6, but I'll watch it again. Like it's an easy watch. So
Yeah.
it's not like a commitment. So.
And we've talked about this. I'll give my list, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that we've missed on this podcast that we never got to talk about because your opinion on WandaVision is interesting. But in terms of my list here for the Disney Plus projects, my number one is actually Miss Marvel, and I don't think that show is perfect by any means. I've had some issues with it, but I thought the the way that they portrayed the character, even straying away from the comics accuracy, if you want to call it that,
Sure.
I thought was a good choice for the show. I didn't have a problem with the high school stuff. I knew those characters from the comics. I liked seeing them portrayed on the screen, and I thought the actors that they chose for those roles were great, and I thought they did a great job. And I liked how they were delving into the backstory of that character and explaining how that whole mythos works for the universe of the MCU. Even though I have problems with specifically the 4th episode, I think it was, that caused a little bit of holes in how some of the science works in the MCU. But otherwise, I really like the show, and I'm looking forward to where that character's going in the Marvels.
Frozen? Just started.
You probably are because of
There
how
we
I'm
go.
switching screens. So
Okay.
yeah,
I was frozen like this. I was like, I don't know what's
yeah,
happening.
you're probably frozen again. Yeah, you're gonna maybe I'll try to like move these windows around so you're not frozen as much.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the reason why Miss Marvel's at the top of my list. I would rewatch that show. I think it's so well done, especially the first episode. How the like how they did the animation and everything, and the visual style of it was really cool. WandaVision, I know you are not a comedy fan. I was looking at it beyond comedy. I have watched a lot of those sitcoms, and I understood the homage to them and what they meant for the show and the character and how they were portraying that story.
Yeah, I get
So
that too.
I thought it was very creative. It was the first show back in a long time from our long break during the pandemic, away from the MCU, and it was the first thing we got introduced to, and it was this mystery inside of a sitcom comedy that just demanded I kept rewatching it for clues and stuff every week. And even when you were taking out that like mystery of like what does this mean for the MCU, what is the stuff that's going on, um like even when I took that aside and I was just watching the show for what it is, which is the comedy aspect, I think it would have paid, like, I like seeing those characters, like these comic book characters, whether they're live action or animation straight from the comics, portrayed in like kind of like comedic satirical role, the Harley Quinn show or the MODOK show or stuff like that are examples. And this was just kind of like an example of that, and I love seeing that. So I had a lot of fun with those characters in a sitcom role.
Yeah.
And it all the like subtle references in each of the shows that kind of made you think like what does that mean, that's from the MCU, what does that mean for the show, and um
Yeah.
and the um sort of like things like the color or the name of the wine or something like that just kind of like had these different aspects or reasons to them. So that's why I really love the show.
I think what just got me on WandaVision was having to watch it week to week. If I had binged it,
It was
maybe
the
I
first thing
probably
that they did that with, right? So
yeah
yeah.
yeah I probably would have liked it more if I didn't have to watch it week to week. Binging it, I
Yeah,
think I would have enjoyed more.
I
I
think even at
appreciate
that
all the ref.
time the Netflix shows were binged, like they released all the stuff at once, right? So it's like this is a huge difference to that.
Yeah. I like a lot of the references. I liked how they explain a lot in it. It leaves to Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness really well. It
Mhm.
has a lot of references that you need to watch. I enjoyed how they kind of just did the closing up on Vision because literally his body is in pieces in a facility somewhere. So there was all that. Um, I I think it's just because I didn't like the black and white. I didn't like the laugh track. The jokes were corny, and they're like like dear, but then it would be like a small like Wanda would do like something like
Yeah.
silly or whatever. And then I don't care for the girl who played Agatha, and I didn't care for like their like 3 minute fight in the last episode. I was like, oh, she solved that really quick. I was like,
I'm the complete opposite.
yeah, I was like, I don't know. I was like, no, like Falcon and Winter Soldier is way more my style. I just really, really hated the actor who played uh, uh the guy. What is his name? The guy who's
And Falcon
the
Winter Soldier?
yeah, he's the one who takes the
Oh,
super soldier
the
throne.
new Captain America. So the character's name is, I already forget.
He's not Captain America. He's
He's
Captain.
he's he's the US agent now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
U.S. agent. I hated the actor who played him, and there were things in there that drove me nuts because there were a lot of people who took
Wyatt Russell,
uh
I think his name is.
wasn't he like Kurt Russell's son
Yeah,
or
Wyatt,
something?
I think.
Yeah, I didn't care. I don't think his acting was terrible,
Mhm.
but I didn't really care for him that much, and I didn't like what didn't I like? There was a lot of things that were dumb in that, like how many times they were kicked in the chest and then thrown into a car by a
What's with
super
all the
soldier.
knives?
Well, like Mr. Agent Shield got kicked by a super
Mhm.
soldier off of a bus and then landed on a car
Yeah.
behind, and none of his ribs are broken. I'm like, okay, sure, he just took one then, and no problem. But like, if Captain America had kicked you, you'd be out. So
Yeah.
I didn't like a lot of the like just how they wrote some of the writing was like I'm like, well, okay, are they super soldiers or aren't they, because that guy
Yeah.
should be dead or at least in the like critically wounded for weeks. So there were things I didn't like, but I would probably that's like one of the ones it's probably one of my it's my top three, only because Moon Knight was so cool. It was my second. Falcon was just because it was
Yeah.
I loved watching him become Falcon. I love seeing um the guy, Winter Soldier guy. Man, I'm so bad at remembering people's
Mhm.
names. Winter Soldier guy, whatever his name is.
The actor names?
Yeah,
Um
I can't.
Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan. Yeah, I love Sebastian Stan. I love seeing him in that. So that was cool.
Mhm.
I think Loki's just my number one, just because I like the because I like Loki's died and come back and died and come back and died and come
Loki,
back. And then
yeah.
after having his neck snapped, and then Endgame, he's like, ah, just kidding. I got the space stone. Takes off. I was like, All right, let's go see your adventures now. So
Loki's my number 3. Falcon Winter Soldier is much lower on the list. I will say for Falcon Winter Soldier, I believe I had a longer discussion with Matt on a previous podcast on my issues with that show. Primarily, I give it a lot of leeway because it was halfway through filming when the pandemic started, and they changed a lot of that show to try to adjust things because they were very much similar. There's some two real aspects about that show to introduce
yeah,
in regards to the pandemic, so they had to cut a lot of stuff, and that's why things look a little bit jumbled and out of place in that show. But I also question a lot of things from the writing. I was thinking about something today actually, about Sharon Carter's character and where she like may end up in the future, and just rewatching it, just like thinking back on like there's stuff that doesn't make sense about her character, but it could be explained in different ways. But like, there's just stuff that doesn't make sense with how things went down in that show, which I think we're
yeah,
gonna that character is gonna show up again. I and we could talk about Phase 5 and where we think things are gonna go, but I think that character is either gonna show up in Armor Wars, Secret Invasion, or some other stuff. And we'll have like a longer discussion on like what that character was doing in Falcon Winter Soldier and if that makes sense. But Loki, I think was um very much like WandaVision, very creative. I didn't really have high expectations for that show. I was watching the trailers. I'm like, I'm not really interested in the show. I don't really care that much about Loki. But after them doing the show, and the entire show was about time travel, which okay, you got me there. And the style of it and everything, like a retro future style kind of look, and then introducing He Who Remains, who we'll now see as Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania,
right,
was really cool. So I do like that show for that reason. That's why it's a number 3 on my list.
right.
Hawkeye, I think, is high on my list because it came out around Christmas, and I was in
Yeah,
that mood. But I loved Haley Steinfeld, how she played that character. Um, I I thought they did a really good job with it. Florence Pugh's character, um,
she'll be
portraying
Bishop, right? That's
what's
what
that?
she becomes. She becomes Bishop. Is that right?
Wait, so
Haley's.
Haley Steinfeld is Kate Bishop in the show.
Okay,
She
which
becomes
show?
Hawkeye,
Oh, okay.
so she's Hawkeye.
I thought her name was just Bishop. Like they just go.
Yeah.
She just goes by Bishop, and
Also,
she.
I think Jeremy Renner's out of commission for quite some time. So
Yeah.
yeah, so she's going to be the Hawkeye for a while.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hawkeye is number 4 on my list. Because I really enjoyed that show. I had a fun time watching it.
It'd be funny
Uh,
if they referenced it or something. Like if she goes to the hospital, and he's
oh,
in
I
the
mean,
and they're like, wow, you could fight Thanos, but
yeah.
like, a skiing accident takes out your legs. So,
Oh, that
what they say, like something, and he's like, ha ha ha. I don't know what they'll do. I hope,
probably not that.
obviously, well, whatever. Jeremy Renner seems like the guy who has like a good sense of humor, so he's
Maybe.
like, yeah, I'll do a Marvel thing sitting in my bed, but still, yeah, I love the guy, so I hope he has
Yeah.
speedy recovery and is back to filming if he's still gonna be in the MCU.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night again. I thought it was very creative, very different from what we've seen Marvel do before, and it was a cool project. They finally introduced Man Thing and the horror side of Marvel where monsters exist. So that was a cool introduction. So that's the reason why I have that above Moon Knight. Moon Knight
Yeah,
was a really cool show. I've always wanted to see a live action adaptation of that character. I got what I wanted out of that show. We've had long discussions on Moon Knight in the past, so I'm not going to go into detail on my thoughts on Moon Knight. But it's number 6 on my list. Underneath that, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Again, we've talked about that at length. I had
yeah,
a fun time watching that. I was in the mood for a Christmas thing, so it's up there on my list.
hmm,
What If is right underneath that, and the reason why it's so low is because it didn't really have the implications that I was expecting out of the show in regards to the larger MCU. It's really cool and different, but it's not like something I'm like, yeah, this is like an important thing I need to watch for the MCU, or this is something like I'm running to rewatch. It's
yeah,
just a cool little side thing, and I didn't think it was up there with everything else.
yeah. I'm just happy they're, I think what I liked about it the most, like
Yeah.
what made me, I like that they had a lot of the actors return, but
Yep.
it was like some of the last stuff that Chadwick Boseman did. So I liked seeing his Black
That's a good
Panther
point. Yeah.
character in it. So I was like, this is nice, seeing him in his, it was like obviously seeing on screen is one thing,
Mhm.
but it's probably pretty cool to see you do the voice of a comic book character on screen. Like I'd much rather do like if I was gonna do acting, I'd much rather
Oh
be
yeah.
voiceovers. So it'd be cool to see me doing the voice of
Yeah.
uh, you know
And,
Black Panther.
and I like how this opens the door for Marvel to do more animation, because I would love
Yeah,
to see a lot more. And we know stuff is coming; it's on the way. Maybe if they're still doing Spider-Man freshman year, it sounds like they might be canceling that. I don't know.
yeah,
And props for it kicking off Hit Pause MCU. So extra points for that. Falcon Winter Soldier is underneath that. I did not have a problem with that. So it's number 9 on my list. I did not have a problem with the show. It was a good show. I did the reasons I already explained why I give it a bit of credit. So I don't think it's a bad show. I just think everything else was better on
yeah,
my list. That's the
yeah,
reason why it's so low. She-Hulk, I considered bottom tier MCU. Unfortunately, I didn't think it was a bad show. I enjoyed the show. I laughed a lot during some points. It was cool seeing the references. I like seeing characters in a satirical manner, like on the show. I do want to see a She-Hulk season 2, despite our criticisms of the show. And I do want to see more of that character. And sure, I'm not gonna gun to rewatch the show. I'm sure I'll have fun rewatching it. It's just not something I really want to. But if a second season comes along, I'll be like, all right, awesome, more She-Hulk. I'll continue watching. Like I didn't hate the show as much as everybody else did. I
yeah.
didn't hate the show at all. Actually, it's just it definitely was lower tier production from Marvel. You can clearly see that watching it. Like I'm not even mentioning the visual effects and everything. So let's put that aside too. I Am Groot was not for me. I I didn't enjoy that series at all.
Which is funny because you say that I hate comedy, but I fucking loved the Groot
I know,
shorts more. Like
and
I
that
loved
was
them.
for kids. That was made for kids.
Yeah, no, I fucking
That's what
loved
it
it.
was.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's like I'm like I don't want this. I really don't want this. Is not for me. I'm glad it exists and people like it, but it's just like short little Pixar things they're putting
yeah,
out there that seemed like really low budget, and I was like, and it's just for a animated mascot character that says 3 words, and there's only so much I can take of that. So
yeah. No, I loved it. It was fantastic. I can't
uh,
wait to have kids and just watch it on repeat all the time.
they didn't do that much. There's only a few of them.
I know
They're gonna
there's
go
only like
crazy.
7 or 10 of them, and they're literally like a minute and a half or to 2 minutes each. So they're done at like if you walk out of the room, it's done by the time
Yeah.
you come back. So
Movie list is much shorter, so let's go through the movie list. What's your ranking for the
I
movies?
already changed my list on the TV shows.
Already. Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
just
on the TV shows?
on the TV shows. After just doing my list, I was just looking at them and listening to yours, and I was like, yeah. So I'm just gonna rally them off. My new list is Loki,
Okay.
Moon Knight, Falcon,
Okay.
Guardians over Hawkeye. So Guardians, Hawkeye, What If, Groot's, Werewolf, Wanda, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. Just a couple in the middle, sort of changed
Right.
around.
Yeah, yeah.
That's yeah. I was like, you know what? I think I
Interesting.
liked Guardians more than I liked Hawkeye. Not necessarily
Yeah.
for any specific reason. Just Guardians is just it's easier to watch and less of a commitment. I don't know. That's about it. But
I made a movie ranking list before I watched Thor.
yeah,
That has changed. Like two movies have changed
yeah,
since we've watched Black Panther from the time before I watched Thor.
yeah.
So two of those movies swapped for me, and they're in the top positions. So it's gonna be interesting. But what are your rankings for the movies?
For my movie list, okay. Um, number one is man. See, there's like
It's
four
tough
that
for
are
the movies, right?
the four that are the toughest for me is No Way Home,
Yeah.
Black Widow,
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther, and Shang-Chi. Those four, I'm like,
I'll be
it
honest.
depends
I'll
on
be
the
honest. Like most of them of Phase 4, it's
yeah,
a lot of them I loved. So it's like it's hard ranking them.
yeah. those four though, particularly, it just depends which character I'm in the mood to watch. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
if I want an action, more not so super villain, whatever, hyped, like I'll go Black Widow. If I just want like martial arts fighting, or not martial arts, but you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like a action movie, I'll go more Black Widow. If I want nostalgia, it's No Way Home. If I want to feel good, like kind of sad, but whatever movie, it's Black Panther. And then Shang-Chi is just like a fun one. But so mine's just gonna go No Way Home, Black Widow,
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther over Shang-Chi, just because it's new and I love Chadwick Boseman and I kind of miss him. So the tribute was like, I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Black Panther, then Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi. And then I have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Eternals, only because I haven't watched Eternals that much, but I still like it more than Thor. So Thor Love and Thunder is at my bottom still.
Is interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so first
It
of
was
all,
too cheesy.
I
Thor:
don't.
Love and Thunder. I
Yeah,
love Thor, but it wasn't. It was way too low compared to Ragnarok.
the one movie on this list that I think we've never really discussed on the podcast was Black Widow, and Black Widow is pretty high on your list. So
Yeah,
I'm interested to know, because I don't know, what are your thoughts on the movie?
Black Widow. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I liked all of it. I want more of the Red Guardian. I thought that was an interesting character to never talk about having to, because he mentions fighting Captain America
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. He used to fight Steve Rogers, and I'm like, we never saw any of that, and it was never talked about. So it just felt like they just brought it up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yelena, Black Widow's, sister, very cool character. I like the actress who played her. Um, I don't know. I thought it was great all the way through. Like there was maybe the prison break was a little cheesy because they broke out of that prison very quickly for two people in a Russian prison. But yeah, I liked all of it. I thought it was all good in the way that it, at the very end when it ties in with Yelena and
Mm-hmm.
we see the whole Red Room finally like being destroyed,
Yeah.
hopefully for good. I thought that was good. How it ties in with Yelena being snapped and then coming back 5 years later,
Yeah.
and then knowing that her sister's dead. I thought,
Oh, that was in Hawkeye.
wasn't that
That was
is
Hawkeye.
that
That scene.
was it really in Hawkeye?
Yeah, that was Hawkeye.
God, okay, I don't know why I only watched Hawkeye all once. Still, I remember we see her going. She's visiting the grave in the
Yeah.
credit scene,
Mm-hmm.
so I remember that. So that was all. That was still really cool. Man, I can't believe that's Hawkeye. I forgot that they intertwined. But that's the thing in Hawkeye where I was like, really, you're gonna blame your sister for that death? So I'm glad they sort of. He was like, "Yo, I'm her friend."
Yeah.
Like, and then she was like, "Oh, okay, all right, that makes sense." Like, I'm glad it wasn't like, "No, I'm killing you. I don't care what you have to say. I'm killing you." I'm glad they, resolved that really quickly in Hawkeye. But I did. I like Black Widow. It's probably up there. Like, I like it. I'll watch. I like it with the Captain America movies. So like, it's with
Yeah.
like Civil War and like Winter
That's
Soldier.
what I
Like,
was
I like.
expecting going into it, and it was pretty much that. And I've seen some like I've heard comments and stuff like that. Oh, the movie's not that great, or it sucks. Slow MCU tier. It's
Yeah,
boring. There's not as much action. A lot of the stuff is cheesy. I'm like, what movie did we watch? Because I thought the movie was nothing but action.
yeah,
I thought that a lot of the cheesy stuff was about the same that I've seen from any other spy movie.
yeah,
And like
yeah.
it felt like an action spy movie, just like any other one I've watched. And it was fun. It's set in the MCU. It's got these characters, Taskmasters in it. A lot of the Red Guardian, all that stuff is in there. So it was cool. And I thought that movie was great and worth rewatching. I'll be honest though, like the top five of my seven movie list here are interchangeable depending on my mood, just like
Yeah,
you
yeah, that's
said,
like
just
mine.
like whatever I think here. But prior to watching Thor: Love and Thunder, my number one was Spider-Man: No Way Home because of my Spider-Man bias. That's pretty
Yeah,
much what it was. I'm
that's
like,
where
it's
mine is.
fun watching all these characters together on screen. I've had some time to mull it over. My number one is Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that movie was really great. It was a great introduction to that character.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've really talked about Shang-Chi much on the podcast, but I thought it was fantastic, and I think that's like out of all these right now of like what I want to rewatch, it would probably be Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
It was so much fun.
we've been talking about the last week and a half. Me and Jess were
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you want to watch Shang-Chi tonight?" And we're like, "Yeah, kinda." And then we're like, "But it's kind of late. Maybe we'll watch it when we, don't want
Yeah.
to fall asleep halfway through." And then we're like, "Oh, we'll finish it tomorrow." We want to just watch it. So, but that's why, like, I think that's why, like, as good as it is, I think that's just only like No Way Home only beats it because of like I got to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire
Exactly.
come back.
But that's why I put it
Uh,
lower on the list because that whole movie was fan service,
yeah,
and it's like Shang-Chi was a great movie. Spider-Man is a great fan service movie, and so
yeah.
it's like if I'm weighing the two right there, I think Shang-Chi's got to be higher for me.
Exactly. It just again, it depends what mood you're in. Though
Yeah.
that's you are right. Like we are right. That's just what it is. Because like sometimes like I'll just be like, you know what? I want to see magic and crazy shit. Like I want to watch Doctor Strange and the Multiverse
Yeah.
of Madness. I want him. I want to see him fight with piano notes. Why not?
Exactly.
Like it's that could be it. So where does love? Sorry, where does so? What's your list then? So
So
what's your order still?
number 3. So Spider-Man's number 2.
Okay.
So it's just Shang-Chi and Spider-Man changed. That's all. Black
Yeah.
Panther, now that I've seen that, number 3. We've
Yeah.
already talked about Black Panther.
Yeah, that's
You
where
know why
mine's
it's
at.
number
Yeah.
3, yeah. 4 is Doctor Strange. So
Okay.
Black Widow's lower on the list here, but the reason for Doctor Strange, the reason why Black Panther is higher than Doctor Strange for me, because I also feel like Doctor Strange was a fan service movie. In a lot of different ways. But it's a very fun movie, and it's I think they took some risks with it, and the the creative direction that Sam Raimi did with the movie I thought worked well for the film. So I enjoyed it. It's a fun movie to watch. Then it's Black Widow. Uh and again, I didn't hate Black Widow. It's not low on the list because I hate it. I love the movie. I just think the other ones
Or better,
I
yeah.
liked more. Yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
reason. Eternals is right underneath that.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't hate Eternals.
again,
It's just a
yeah,
lot.
it is a lot.
It's
It's a long movie.
yeah.
There's a lot involved with it, but I still think it's a good movie, and I want to rewatch it because
Me
there's
too.
things that I remember about the movie I want to take back in, especially with stuff that we've seen. We've seen a lot of stuff in MCU and MCU Phase 4. Blink and you'll miss it. Reference Eternals. There's a lot of Kingo references all over Phase 4.
I would
So,
I love it. I liked Eternals a lot because I remember I didn't see it in theaters. I
yeah.
can't remember why. Um Everyone was telling me how bad it was and not to go see it and it didn't feel like an MCU movie.
Hmm.
And then when I finally watched it, I was like, this was really good. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know why people didn't like it.
Hmm.
I could see it being a little long, and there is there's a shitload. There's a shitload of characters to try to remember all their names because I
Yeah.
don't remember not one character's name in that
You only
movie.
really need to know a few of them because a lot of them, like some of them die.
Yeah, a
So,
lot of them die. I will say though, like seeing the speedsters again, like there's another speedster in there, and watching her run around,
Makari.
that was amazing. Like
Yeah, I know the names. I
I
can bring
liked
up the
yeah. See,
names.
I don't remember a single person. There was a guy I think who was like liked clocks. Maybe
The
I'm
guy
wrong.
who
I have
liked
no idea.
clocks.
I think there was I don't know.
The
I
guy
have
who
no
made
nothing.
stuff.
Yeah, that
His
guy.
name
He
was
was like
Fastos.
he was like a tech guy. He built stuff. I think he's like, yeah, I've been building things for humans for centuries. Just
Yeah,
whenever they need something,
Fastos.
yeah. So like stuff like that, I'm like, oh, cool, that's really sick. And there was yeah, it's just. I remember I just hated seeing the characters. Like there was so many cool ones. It hurt me to watch them get killed off.
Yeah,
That's what bothered me the most was watching me lose the characters. But yeah, definitely want to watch it again. It was I liked it. Nothing wrong with the movie
and at
other
the
than being
bottom of
long.
my list, what is it, Jordan?
Thor: Love and
Yeah,
Thunder.
there we go. Okay. So,
It's just too. It just felt too rushed. It felt too
yeah,
rushed, and it wasn't. It didn't deliver. There's nothing to me. It just felt like how you felt. Groot was made for kids. Love and
yeah,
Thunder was just made for kids. I think it was just like
it was. Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth's like, I'm gonna make a Thor movie for my two kids, and I'm like, that's what you did because it's just a bunch of children. Now there are moments in it that I enjoyed.
Hmm.
There are little like I love that we got to see Jane, the Mighty Thor, on camera.
Yeah.
Amazing. I liked the new ability that Mjolnir had. Awesome. But watching them fight shadow people for like
Yeah.
whatever, and then jumping around from planet to planet
Mhm.
without explaining how in some parts, where I have no idea how Jane Foster got to the craziest place
You
in
were
the
on the Thor
world.
podcast, right? Or was that
Yeah, we
with
talked
yeah,
about
yeah.
this, and what got me so angry once you brought it up, and I was like, right, and I still remember it because it's never
Let's
been answered to me
let's
months
not
later.
go watch our Thor podcast. We're
Yeah,
not going to delve into that. We have some time,
yeah,
right, Jordan?
yeah.
Okay. So, we're going to talk about Phase 5. There's already changes since like right after they revealed the timeline for Phase 5, there were changes. There have been changes since, but I think mostly for Phase 6 is when things like shuffle around. So, it's not too many things in Phase 5 when you look at it. But we're going to go over what's planned, what are our thoughts, and what are our expectations here. We'll try not to go too long because we're already going long on this podcast, so we'll try to keep it short. So here's the list right now. Just to recap, when they showed this list, they said this is Phase 5. Granted, Marvel will not say when the next Spider-Man movie is. That's kind of Sony's thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
there could be a Spider-Man movie thrown in here, but I doubt it. It's probably for Phase 6. So here's the list in the order that they presented it. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania coming out very soon in a couple weeks, I think. Secret Invasion, Guardians of the, or maybe Echo and then Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, or those are at the same time. Then Loki Season 2, The Marvels, Blade, Ironheart, Agatha: Coven of Chaos, Daredevil: Born Again, Captain America: New World Order, and Thunderbolts. Some dates have changed. I've added those to reflect that. So Blade is probably not coming out until, or no, they have a new date on it. It's September. So Blade is going to be the last thing in Phase 4 now. It was smack dab in the middle before, and now it's going to be the last thing because of all the production issues that they've had with that movie. Echo, we know, has been delayed about a year. So it's right now it's in the same time slot as Agatha: Coven of Chaos.
Yeah.
One of those is going to be moved around. We
Okay.
can kind of assume what it is going to be going there. But for first of all, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. What are your theories? What do you think is going to happen? What are our expectations of that movie?
Is Secret Invasion not an Avenger movie?
Yeah, it's a Disney Plus series. I think 6 episodes.
Okay, so what were the new Avengers movies called? I
Those
just
are in
want to
Phase 6. We're gonna ignore those. We're just gonna stick with Phase 5 right now.
I was like, it was bothering me because I thought one of them was called Avengers
In
Secret
the in the
Invasion.
context, yeah, there is.
Wars,
There's
right?
2 Avengers movies for Phase 6. They're not gonna be in Phase 5. But
Right.
in
I'm thinking of Secret
context
Wars, right?
of Phase 6, like you can say this is how this movie is going to affect the Avengers thing going forward.
Right.
But we're gonna stick with Phase 5 because we don't have time for both phases right now.
Sure. Yeah, that's
And
fine.
and
No, that's
and
fine. I
half
just
of Phase
remember.
6 isn't confirmed yet. So like
I am excited for this whole list.
yeah.
Quantum Mania, just after the trailer, has got me pretty hyped for it. It looks like a new take on Ant-Man, not
Yeah.
so just like comic-y or
All right.
uh, comical, not so comical.
Yeah.
Looks like it's might be more like life or death stuff happening in it. So I'm excited for that. Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm the most excited for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see New World Order, just to see our new Captain America. Uh, other than this list, the only ones I'm not.
Let's stick with Ant-Man. What's going on? What's going to happen in Ant-Man?
I I think we talked about it a little bit in our last podcast, but think I think we both said the same thing. We both think Hank Pym is gonna be killed off
Yeah.
because she just got her mom back,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes sense to kill off Hank Pym. Plus, the actor himself kind of, he's getting older. There's no really point to keep, paying him to keep coming back just to do small little roles. Like we don't really need
Yeah.
Hank Pym anymore now that we have the mom, Hope, and Scott Lang. So I could see him being killed off. We could see the introduction to Cassidy becoming, is it Cassie?
Cassie.
Cassie becoming a new hero in that
Yep.
one. I
I
think you
agree.
said she might become a Stinger.
I think that's what
Or
the official thing is. Is her name
yeah,
is Stinger.
Stinger, or I think you said it was Stature, right?
Yeah, her name in the comics is Stature.
Yeah, so I think we have the potential to see that, which would be really cool. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Those are like the Guardians and Quantumania. I'm very excited for. I think the only one I'm not excited for is Agatha.
Yeah.
I have no interest in that. Echo. It'll be cool to see I
Let's
believe
take it. Let's
she's
take it one step at a time here. So,
okay.
Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything contradicting that. I will say that people will be let down by MODOK. I think it's going to be a one movie appearance, and they're going to get rid of him, and fans are going to be pissed about that.
Yeah. What
I
a weird
think
character to hang up on. He seems so like
he's
I
not.
don't really see
He's not.
the big guy.
Listen, MODOK fans, he's not interesting. Move on.
Yeah, he's not. I was like, why do you guys like the big guy with the big head in the chair? I was like,
Not
he's just
interesting. Who cares? Just
yeah,
get rid of him.
what a
I
weird
remember
character.
there's a point in the comics, or one of the ones from a few years ago, with Hawkeye, Haley Steinfeld's character, Kate Bishop, where the MODOK disguised himself as like a teenager somehow, and then they caught up pretty quickly to the fact that he is MODOK pretending to be a teenager, and they're like, so we all agree that that guy's MODOK, right? And then that's the like the funniest thing I remember about the character. But I think yeah, MODOK's gonna be a disappointment. I think this movie is gonna have Tron vibes. They're gonna start off in like the main world, go quickly into the quantum realm, and spend the whole movie there,
Yeah.
and then leave the quantum realm at the end of the conclusion thing. But I think Ant-Man is staying in the quantum realm.
You think it's gonna
I
be like
think
the end? You think it might be the end of Scott Lang?
I don't think this will be the end of Scott Lang. I think he will show up again in the future, like for the Avengers movie. But I think he's going to make a sacrifice of some sort to save his family so that
I
they
like
can
that.
leave the quantum realm, but he has to stay behind to
Yeah,
fight
stay behind.
Kang or to make sure he
Sure.
doesn't cause destruction.
Yeah, because it's like, oh no, we lost Scott Lang, but
Yeah.
only for a little bit. Because by the end of the phase or next phase, it'll be like, oh, Scott Lang
Yeah.
in the quantum. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
Because
and
that'll be a
then
hype
his daughter
moment.
is gonna try to find a way to get him out of there.
It'll be hype when we see him in like 2 years from now, or maybe 3 years from now, and we're
Yeah.
like, shit, Scott Lang's back. But then since Paul Rudd doesn't age at all, we'll just
Mhm.
be like, oh look, he's younger
Yeah,
somehow.
good point.
We'll be like, oh, we're expecting Paul Rudd to be aged, and they can't because he just doesn't age. So
Secret Invasion. I'm worried about what my theories are because these are going to be like spoilers. Do you know anything about Secret Invasion?
I don't know anything at all from that. No, I assume the only thing that my brain went to immediately is it went to the people who can from not Miss Marvel, from
Captain
Captain
Marvel.
Marvel. The aliens that can
Yeah.
like identify as people. That's the only thing my brain goes
Do you
to
watch the
when I
trailer?
no. Maybe that's why my brain goes there. Are they in it? Are they in the trailer?
Yep.
Okay, then that's why. All right, so I did watch the trailer, and that's why I knew,
Okay. So
know something.
I
I
don't
don't know
know
what you.
I don't know how much you want me to say because I really want to say like theories on the show, but I feel like I'm
Yeah,
the only one that knows shit.
no, that's fine. I
Okay.
like, yeah,
So if you're one of those spoilers,
unless you're like, yeah, for sure in the comic books this dude dies. Don't tell
yeah.
me. Like,
I'd say
I don't want to know.
stop watching the
Sure.
podcast now if you don't want to be like spoiled about. Listen, these are our theories. We don't know exactly what's going on. These are just what
Yeah,
we think is going to happen. Okay?
yeah.
We could be completely wrong. I would guarantee that I'm probably very wrong because I've been very wrong about Marvel movies in the past. So
I know.
don't
Like I
take my
thought
word for anything.
we thought Love and Thunder was gonna be good, and we were so wrong. So
Yeah, right?
who knows?
Exactly.
So who knows?
Secret Invasion stars Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And I think the actor who played one of the Skrull characters, like his boss or whatever in Captain Marvel, like he's portraying his role on there.
Mhm.
This is the show that's rumored to have Chloe Bennett return from Agents of Shield, so we might see that character on here. I don't know how much of a role. And there's another actor, I forget her name. She has a major presence. I'm not going to spoil anything about her character because that was spoiled online. So we know stuff about that character, but I'm not going to say it because that is an actual spoiler. So I'm not going to say that. I think This show is heavily inspired by a comic book that where the roles are kind of reversed in the comics books compared to the MCU, but Skrulls are the bad guys in the comic books. Kree are, well, Kree aren't really good guys, but like the roles of Skrull and Kree are kind of reversed for the movies in my mind. Um, at least for how they're presented in Captain Marvel. In the comics, Skrulls are just like they're just the evil creatures. There's a whole history behind why they're doing this, but rather than get into that, they invade Earth. They like disguises themselves as people, like amongst our own people. They kidnap those people and take them, run experiments on them and shit. Especially superpowered people, they want to take their abilities and stuff. So they're just Skrulls that have been living with people for years until even like sleeper ones that don't even know they're Skrulls. They had their like memories wiped and stuff until the day where it comes time for the actual invasion for them to take over Earth.
Now, quick question though, while we're talking about that, what is, as far as we are in the MCU, is Nick Fury still with them on that ship then?
I think so. As far as we know, Nick Fury is on the ship. I
Yeah.
think the Nick Fury that we've seen,
Yeah.
post Captain Marvel, sometime after Captain Marvel, before Iron Man, has not been Nick Fury.
You said after Captain. You
After
think it's been a?
after Captain Marvel, before Iron Man,
You think it's
it's
been?
been a Skrull
Yeah, I think
or
so.
something else, and it's not actually Nick Fury.
So then, when he was in Far
Yeah. Well, Far
From
From
Home.
Home, he was a Skrull.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. You think that one has been the same one this whole time,
Yeah.
and the one that we saw in space is going to be a different Nick Fury then, or is the actual Nick Fury, or
I
is
don't
that?
even know if the guy in space is the actual Nick Fury.
Oh my god, we just have Nick Furies running around.
Yeah.
They're gonna take the Black Nick Fury from the comic books too, and that's gonna be the real one.
So this character is based on
Oh,
that
sorry.
character.
Yeah, sorry.
The white the
the
you
real Nick Fury is gonna be the white one.
it's gonna be a David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
David Hasselhoff's the real Nick Fury.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So I think Nick Fury, the Nick Fury we know from all the movies, is not the same Nick Fury. Is not the actual Nick Fury. I think Sharon Carter from the Falcon and Winter Soldier is a Skrull.
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually Sharon Carter. I think now I have to look at it because if I want to continue on this theory, I got to look at all the other MCU actors and characters, and I would love to list off that because we got a little bit of time, so I can do like a theory list. I can try to compile one. Who is a Skrull in the MCU, and if my bets are right or not.
We should. I would do that on a podcast.
Yeah.
We'll have to take more time, but we could go
Yeah.
through and be like, let's see who. I think we should absolutely.
I've been holding off on doing that because I'm like, this is a major spoiler discussion, and like I'm the only one who's read the comics, so I'm like, I've been hesitant on bringing it up, but I'm like, I want to do like a Skrull list. Who's a Skrull in the MCU? We got to do that. So that's my theory. That show's going to lead into Armor Wars, which is going to be sometime in Phase 6. So I think Sharon Carter is going to be in Secret Invasion. I don't know if there's anything confirmed that she's in it, but I think she's going to be in it. The effects of Secret Invasion are going to affect that character's actions in Armor Wars, and which is now a movie. So they're doing a full movie on that, I think. But I don't know fully what Armor Wars is going to be yet, so I'm going to hold off on my predictions on that for now.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy, I think we've pretty much said like who we think is going to die.
We did it last podcast. I believe we did.
I don't know, like I think that movie is going to feel definitive. I don't think it's really going to affect the larger MCU in like some big meaningful way. I think personally Groot's going to survive and is going to, because Marvel wants to use that character as a mascot as much as possible.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really don't know how that show's going to, or how that movie is going to affect everything else.
Yeah. I think.
No other thoughts on Guardians?
No, I think we talked about Guardians a little bit last time. I don't think
the next thing kind of is Echo, but that's been delayed to further on. So we can say Echo theories or Loki season 2 theories. What do you want to do?
Echo, I don't really have anything on Echo because like
You want to talk Loki? I'll bring
yeah,
up
we can
Echo
go.
later for closer to
Echo,
where it's on the
Echo,
timeline.
I'm excited that for a. I believe you said she's deaf, right?
Yeah.
That's only one time. I only watched Hawkeye once. It'd be really cool to see a Hawkeye or a deaf character on
So I'll tell
screen
you
as like a.
since we're continuing with that, I'll talk about it. This show's supposed to be an introduction, which a lot of people I think overlook or forget about or just don't want to talk about. This show is supposed to be an introduction or a reintroduction to Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk in the MCU. They're setting up the stage for Daredevil Born Again.
Gotcha.
For where this is rescheduled, it's still supposed to take place or still supposed to air before Daredevil Born Again. So it's still going to be a prequel. But I don't know how much they're going to need to push in order to do that. Because I think Marvel wants to get Daredevil Born Again out on time. So I don't know. But I think this is really going to be a stepping point to be like, okay, Daredevil and Kingpin are back in the MCU. This sets up their characters and their stories before Daredevil Born Again. And then Echo as a character, I think she's going to become her actual like superhero character and maybe make an appearance in Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah.
So that out of the way, Loki season 2. We got.
I don't know where they're gonna go with Loki season 2. It's gonna be
Hard to say,
like
right?
I know I'm really excited for it because I like the first one so much. I hope we see more of. I can't remember female Loki's name.
Sylvie.
Ever. Sylvie. I want to see more of her. I love her. I can't wait to see more of Owen Wilson. That'll be hilarious.
Wow.
So because I believe they're because like, they're both in different timelines.
Yeah.
So that'll be honestly I have no idea where they're gonna go with it. I just know I'm excited for it because I like I love the show. And what I'm most interested, I don't know if they're gonna do it in Loki, but I would love to see Loki somehow fix or do whatever Loki does to get out of it and then make his way back into
That's what I think.
our
The only prediction I'm gonna make, because I have no clue what they're gonna do with the show, because I had no clue what they were gonna do with the first season. But I think the second season is going to set the stage to explain how Loki will return for one of the Avengers movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm the most excited for. So,
The Marvels. You have not watched Miss Marvel all the way through.
No.
Do you have? But you have watched WandaVision. You have watched Captain Marvel and all the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on what's going to happen in the Marvels?
I don't. I feel like I heard either you say it or somebody said it, but I feel like Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, does she enter?
There's going to be a spoil to the end of Miss Marvel. Right?
Yeah, I assume she at the end of Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel shows up. So I'm assuming they'll probably do some because it's called the Marvels. So there might be a whole bunch of I don't know characters who have the name Marvel in it and all like kind of combined. Like there's a logo there.
Yep.
With the Marvel, is that Captain Marvel's logo on her jacket?
You talking about the A?
Yeah, the A.
The A, I think, resembles Monica Rambeau's emblem for her character.
Okay.
So, Photon or whatever they're gonna end up calling her character in the show or in the movie.
Yeah. So that's just what I'm the most excited for. Is just or not sorry, the most excited for, but that's what I figured that's the way it's gonna go. We're gonna see a whole bunch of the like Marvels type characters working together or meeting or something. So that'll be pretty cool, in my opinion.
So there's sort of a plot synopsis for the beginning of the movie and how it's set up. It is taking place right after the end of Miss Marvel. So it's right after those events. And it is going to involve those three title characters that we've talked about. I feel like a majority of it is going to be in space.
It's gonna tie in with... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it will tie in. I think it'll tie in with things that we've seen from Shang-Chi, from other things in the MCU. that are kind of going to set up or explain what's going to happen in Phase 6 with the
Mm.
Avengers movies.
Now I kind of remember what I was talking about. Sorry, because
Okay.
you said it's Shang-Chi. The the rings that we see in Shang-Chi, we talked about this. We talked about Miss Marvel. Her bracelets act a lot like the rings from Shang-Chi, or they have the same sort of cosmic powers,
Yeah.
and they're beeping and connecting to something. So I really wonder if the her are they called bangles?
Yep.
Or I think her bangles and her rings are going to be some sort of like uh I don't know if they I don't know what they combine to. My mind goes to Mortal Kombat. Like I'm like, is it going to be some sort of like these are your weapons and you've been chosen to enter a tournament? But I don't know. Like I want to see
Could
something.
be. You might be
Yeah,
onto something there.
I was like, I don't know why my brain went to that when I saw his
Mhm.
his rings, and then when we saw her bangles, you and I talked about that. I think we saw that in we think we talked about it before we even watched the show. I think we talked about the way her cosmic powers looked in the trailer.
Yeah.
Um, and then I remember now that we talked about that. So that'll be cool if they tie in Shang-Chi with her, the other Marvels, or if there's something going on with this cosmic power. Because I didn't watch the end, I don't know about all these, uh, like how it ended. Because I didn't say how it ended, I don't know how all these people who are after her um, bracelets. Like I don't know anything about those people, so I don't know who what they want from her. So
Yeah. I think it's going. This. I don't think this is a movie you can skip. I think this is going to be important for the
yeah,
MCU, and I think you're right. I think it's going to involve the bangles and the rings from Shang-Chi, and it's going to explain a lot of the cosmic side stuff that we still have questions about. Maybe not fully explain it, but at least give us some hints or direction of where they're going with this and how it's going to
right.
lead into the one or two Avengers movies that we will get in Phase 6. Um, Blade is going to be at the end of the timeline here. Blade's a weird one. It's a movie about a guy who is a half vampire who is hunting down vampires in the real world that exists. From all the movies that we've seen so far, there's been vampires in the background. Uh, what we know about the character is he made an off-screen voice role at the end of Eternals, trying to recruit Dane Whitman and his Ebony Blade, so he becomes the Black Knight, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So I really don't know where they're going with that, why they're picking that up. I'm thinking like maybe they're in London, so maybe they're like maybe they'll recruit Moon Knight and have like some sort of like um mystical uh like on the ground kind of team going on, a Marvel Knights kind of thing. I don't know. But I think that the bigger implication is people focus on Blade. I don't focus on Blade when I think about Blade. I focus on vampires. There are vampires in the MCU. There's been mentions of vampires in the MCU. We have not seen vampires yet, but we know that they exist in the world and they're going to show up, and the MCU is going to feel very weird going forward when this movie's out. Like it's going through rewrites right now, or they're trying to find a new writer and director and everything. But you can't change the fact that this movie is about vampires and putting vampires in a superhero in a franchise. So that just blows my mind. I don't know what you think about that going forward, or what the plans are, or what the the reason for that is.
No, I agree with that. I'm like, it's crazy that we're gonna like how many things like we had, we
Mhm.
had superheroes, then we had aliens, and then
We
we
have
had,
monsters now. We have
we
Werewolf by
have
Night, so it's not out of the question.
monsters, and like it's crazy because we have monsters, there's dragons, there's all kinds of stuff. Like there's
Hmm.
all kinds of characters. So that the fact that they're like, yeah, let's throw vampires in there. I'm like, okay, so vampires are gonna be part of the MCU now. But so are we not saying that? Because isn't what's his name technically part of the MCU, or is that we're still not doing who's the vampire guy? Jared Leto played him.
Oh, Morbius? No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's part of
So
Sony's universe.
okay, so we're okay, so he's not gonna be part of ours then. Okay. All right, so yeah, it'll be interesting if we see vampires and if if they do another collab because the felt it's still
They're
unanswered
going.
with the whole Vulture
They're
thing.
gonna collab. Here's the Morbius is
Yeah,
on like kind of like thin ice right now because
yeah,
nobody likes Morbius.
yeah.
Other
It's
than
bad.
us, we like Morbius. We're Morbius fans. Give us more Morbius. But I mean, once they kind of try to learn how to alleviate that concern by just put Morbius in crossover stuff. Don't
Right.
make another Morbius movie. Just only include him in crossover stuff, and
Right.
let us learn to like that character again. But when that happens, there will be a collaboration with Morbius and Blade. It has to happen.
It has to happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say I want more Morbius. We just didn't hate it because we all went.
Yeah.
We heard all the ratings, and then none of us decided to go to theaters to see it. We were like, it just everybody said how bad it was. Their scores were terrible, whatever. So we didn't go and see it. And then when we all watched it, we all got together and we all watched it, and we literally paused it. I remember like 40 minutes to an hour in, and we are
Yeah.
like, is anybody having a bad time? We're like, no, this is like pretty good.
Yeah.
So like we all liked it. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't top tier,
No.
comic book movie, but I wouldn't say we loved it, but we all liked it. We all had a good time with it. I haven't watched it like
I should be doing the slideshow for this. I forgot to set that
I
up.
haven't watched it 7 more times since it came out, but I didn't hate it as much as everybody said. I was like, I definitely, if you put a gun to my head and asked if I wanted to watch Love and Thunder or if I wanted to watch Morbius, I'm probably gonna pick Morbius because Love and Thunder was just too cheesy for me. It was just such a kid's movie.
Yeah,
But
I just think the bigger implications are like there's superheroes running around, and then in the background there's vampires, and like that could just play a role at some point in any of these movies, where it just might affect like the storyline of that movie somehow. You think like if zombies existed in this universe, that'd be a big fucking deal,
yeah,
right?
no, yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Which they are in the MCU. They're just not in our universe
no,
yet.
they're not in the main universe. They're in some other
Well,
universes.
I mean, Doctor Strange reincarnated his own
Not the same. I don't.
zombie body.
Yeah,
What?
I don't
In his
consider
possession.
that the same though.
I was
He
like, it
possessed a
was.
corpse.
He possessed a corpse in
Yeah,
his. I mean, that's pretty damn close to zombies, if you
I
ask
guess
me. In
so.
the MCU, so I mean, we have a lick of it. There's a
I
lick of. We got
guess
a little bit. We got a
we
little
got
bit of the lick of
slight
zombie in our
some
universe.
slight zombie.
Yeah.
Uh, we got the Ironheart show is the
Yeah.
next thing. I'm so looking forward to this. I love Ironheart as a character.
Mhm.
I love the villain that they're choosing for the show, which is the Hood. He's not like he's not like super like menacing or like powerful villain or anything like Namor, but he's a very he's a street level character who comes across a magical hood that is like possessed by a demon.
God.
And he wants like this is a character who wants to be a crime lord, and he sucks at what he does. And I just think that adds to the charm of the character. So I love the
Yeah.
character from the comics. I'm so excited. He's finally getting screen time. I was like hoping he would be like a Jessica Jones character or
Do you have
something,
a comic book
but
picture of what he looks like?
yeah, I'll look it up. Hold on.
I definitely want to see what he looks like.
Yeah.
That sounds so funny. I've never heard of that. The Hood. I think you told me. Only thing I had.
I've talked
I
about it
have.
before on the podcast with
Yeah,
Sam.
the only reason
So,
why I kind of remember a magical hood crime lord
yeah.
is because I think you brought it up, but I have no uh, recollection of like an image of it in my brain.
Here's an image with the actor and the comic book art.
Okay,
This guy wears
that's
a
the guy who's
hood.
gonna
He's
play
got
him?
guns. Yeah, that's the guy who's gonna play.
What's how old is this character supposed to be? She's only in college, so is the character about the same age, or is he gonna be like a full-on adult villain?
I don't know. I think he's probably like our age or younger.
Okay,
He's gonna be like a young adult. I don't know.
sure.
Young adult, maybe. I don't know. I'd say like in his 20s.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know in the comics what his age is supposed to be. So there's another character of him in like demon mode. If I can find
Yeah.
that. Oh yeah, this one right here. Show you that one. So that's him like as like a full on demon.
Hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that character. Um, I don't know. I think one of the Avengers movies is going to be. So again, for the context, I think one of the Avengers movies is going to be about young Avengers. That Marvel's been setting that up all throughout Phase 4. We've seen
Yeah.
it coming. We could probably guess who's going to be on the cast list for that. But I think Riri Williams is going to be one of those characters. So
Yeah.
I think the Ironheart series is going to set that up, but also this probably plays into Armor Wars, like the Armor Wars movie as well. So it probably has it's probably setting up two different things in the future of the MCU. Um,
We're gonna
but
have armor. If Armor Wars is what I think it's gonna be, like her and War Machine.
the plot synopsis is if Tony Stark's worst fears, his technologies getting into the hands of the enemy, becomes a reality, and his best friend James Rhodes, War Machine, has to figure out how to stop that.
Okay. I was gonna say, I was like, it seems weird to have a movie without
And
Tony in it.
who
But
has access to government resources now, Jordan?
Peter Parker.
No.
Peter
Sharon
Par- is-
Carter, Agent 13 from Falcon and Winter Soldier at the end of the show. They're like, welcome back to your old job. And she calls up the phone and she's like, we lost the super soldier
Right.
serum, but now I have government access to like weapons and everything. So
Yeah.
and she might show up in Secret Invasion, which is going to be setting up Armor Wars. So I think Skrull Sharon Carter is taking over Iron Man's weapons.
Really quickly, because we don't recognize Peter Parker anymore.
Okay.
He doesn't have access to like Tony, like his suit.
No,
and
he's
Tony's...
all that stuff is gone.
Okay, so no more child with drones.
If you watch, like, if you pay attention to where that stuff is throughout the movie, he loses all that stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while with those ones. And this phase feels really long, and it feels...
Yeah,
I won't say it feels just not as planned out as well as
I don't think
the other ones.
Yeah,
It
because
kind of messy.
the other ones are like tying everything together and like having a cohesive story and all that stuff leading into Infinity War. Kevin Feige's been pretty clear he doesn't want to do that. These are setting up new characters, new stories. There's been some continuation on legacy characters, but a lot of those have been setting up new characters even in those shows. So these are about like new stories, new experiences, and introducing you to new characters. Right. Then I think in phase 5 is where we're going to see kind of that stuff maybe mingle or lead somewhere. But a lot of phase 5 is also new characters and stuff. So who knows? Maybe all that stuff's being saved for phase 6.
All right, I got time for probably to just discuss one more probably.
Well, we're close to the end. We have no thoughts on Agatha, Coven of Chaos. I think it's a comedy. That's all. I don't know why they're doing the show.
You like her though too, right?
I do. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be fun. It'll be a fun time. But I have no clue what the fuck they're doing.
It's fair to still be like, yeah, I like that, but why?
Yeah. Like I'm super psyched about it. I'm like, sure, I'll watch it. I'm looking forward to it. Why the fuck are you doing this?
I can't remember. She didn't die in WandaVision, right? That she just took her powers, right? Is that what happened?
No, she's trapped in her sitcom role in the real town. She's a sitcom character stuck in a real town that hated everything about having a sitcom life.
So, do you think it's gonna be that, or do you think it's gonna be like a prequel to her character?
No, it's not a prequel. It's gonna be a continuation. It's gonna be a comedy. It's gonna star Aubrey Plaza. It's gonna star Deborah Jo Rupp from That 70s Show / That 90s Show. And it's gonna be a fun. Right? It's gonna be a funny show.
That's the other reason why I can't stand that. I love that woman. She's such a sweet lady, but I can't stand her laugh. I can't. So I know Jess is gonna love this, and I'm just gonna be sitting there just.
The problem is the timeline of it. It's not it's not coming out on Halloween, so it's like who's gonna be in the mood for this show? Like she's a witch, right?
Yeah,
This
I hope they
is
make me eat my words. I hope I like it, but we'll
is
see.
winter 2023/2024, the same time that Echo is supposed to be released to set up Daredevil Born Again in spring of 2024. Something's getting pushed and moved around there.
I'm excited for Daredevil Born Again because I
Yeah.
love
That's
Daredevil
the
and I
next thing
like
on the
the
list.
actor who plays
What do you
Daredevil.
think? So my thoughts have been clear. I don't know fully what they're doing because it's 18 episodes. How am I going to protect 18 episodes? But I think
I can't give my thoughts on it because I didn't watch him in
eh,
She-Hulk, and I didn't
yeah.
finish. As much as I loved season 1 and 2 of his show, I didn't watch the third season of him, so I don't know what.
My hope in theory is the reason why they're extending this so long is to use it as a vessel to reintroduce characters into the MCU, such as the characters that were in Daredevil's world from the Netflix shows. A lot of people
Yeah.
say I'm batshit crazy and that none of that stuff matters for the MCU. I say you're wrong, and I'm going to prove you wrong when this comes out. But I don't really have too many other thoughts other than Daredevil Born Again because it's 18 episodes, so it's hard to predict. We'll see after Echo where my thoughts are, but we'll have to wait until Echo comes out to have any sort of idea, unfortunately. And we're nearing the end. There's two other things. Captain America: New World Order. What we know about the movie is what's his name from fucking Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and why am I blanking on this guy's name? Han Solo. Jordan. Han Solo.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. He's gonna be
God,
playing.
that took a while.
He's gonna be
Took too long.
playing William Hurt's character. Why am I remembering William Hurt but not Harrison Ford? He's gonna be playing William Hurt's character, General Thunderbolt Ross from The Incredible Hulk and Civil War and Black Widow and whatever else he's been in. He's gonna be playing that character, and he'll be showing back up in this movie. This movie is also going to feature the leader from The Incredible Hulk as well. He's going to be the villain in this movie, or at least one of the villains. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we last saw him in The Incredible Hulk. That was Mr. Blue. His head got cut open when the Abomination broke free, and he got Bruce's blood into his skull, and his forehead was growing big, and he smiled at the camera, and then we've never seen him again. So
Sorry, who is this?
I just explained it.
What?
At the end of The Incredible Hulk, he helped Bruce Banner try to like control his Hulk thing.
Okay,
When was the last time you watched this movie?
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Mr. Blue.
Mr. Blue,
yes.
yeah. So he's going to be a character in this movie called the Leader. Then the other thing, why do I still have a visual context rectangle up? And I think this is continuing off of the story from Falcon Winter Soldier. So I think that's going to involve super soldiers and other stuff. Other than that, I don't know much else beyond this show. I think this is going to set up Captain America as like solidly planting him as the new Captain America and for the new Avengers movie. So this is going to be this is sort of the gateway to that. Also, one of the characters from Falcon Winter Soldier, I can't remember the character's name, but he was working on Falcon's wings. He's going to be in that movie as well, portraying a character from the comics. The new Falcon. He'll be the new Falcon.
Cool. Yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah.
Any thoughts of where this movie's going to go?
No, I just wonder if I wonder if Hydra's gonna make an appearance again in this.
Last we saw of Hydra, if I recall, I might be wrong. Last we saw of Hydra was in Ant-Man, when they stole some of Hank Pym's vials, like his particles or whatever, and walked out of the facility before it imploded, and then never heard from them again. Except for, I guess, if you want to count Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We've kind of seen Hydra in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But we've never heard from Hydra again. We've had another Ant-Man movie. They never came up. We're having another Ant-Man movie that's going to be taking place in the quantum realm. Hydra's not going to show up there. Yeah. So, good point. If they show up again, it'll probably be this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I think that's going. We're going to go with Hydra. Probably more Hydra. I think technically the last time we saw Hydra was in Endgame.
That's true. But they were a flashback. They were in the past.
They were a flashback, yeah.
Last thing.
These guys, they look like bad guys.
Last thing on the docket for Phase 5, This is the last
Mhm.
thing to talk about. This is the big one. This is going to be the big ensemble movie because we're not getting an Avengers movie for Phase 5. This is the big movie that they're going to end on. Actually, no, they're ending on Blade.
Yeah.
That's right. They're ending on Blade, but this was supposed to be the last movie. What, typical for Marvel. Do the Avengers movie and then introduce an Ant-Man movie right after,
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our cast for the Thunderbolts. We have Val, don't call her that. We have Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We have Red Guardian and Yelena from Black Widow. We got the Winter Soldier and U.S. Agent from Captain America. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And we've also got Taskmaster from Black Widow. This is essentially, people will make the argument otherwise, but I disagree with you. This is essentially Marvel's Suicide Squad. And I think this is going to kind of continue on from where we've last seen Val and Black Panther.
Yeah.
They might go to war with Wakanda in this movie.
I'm excited to see more of Taskmaster. Honestly, actually looking at all these guys, like I've seen quite a bit of them. I'm happy with all these characters. I love Yelena, but I'm actually excited to learn more about Taskmaster, just to see like what more her like, because her brain has just been like watching videos and
Yeah.
learning. I'm really excited to just learn more about her.
She has like perfect memory. She knows
Yeah.
anybody's moves instantly from watching them.
Yeah.
I want to know how Bucky got a new arm.
I
The
hope they
most
explain
important
that.
question.
I like to think that Mantis. I see this. I don't know how she would have got.
No, because it was what Nebula that got the arm.
Oh, it was Nebula. You're right. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild for them to have to explain it. I don't know.
I want to know how
Yeah.
Ghost is alive.
I don't think they killed her off in the last one, did
No,
they?
they said so. Um, so at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, um, Janet came back from the
Yeah.
quantum realm and she did her magic quantum fingers to her head and
Yeah.
said, "You're better now." And then she ran away, and then the guy Bill Foster, Goliath, was helping her escape. And then Endgame happened. Well, before Endgame happened, Ant-Man was going into the quantum realm to grab some particles or whatever to help with their ghost friend. And then Endgame happened, and then now Quantumania is going to happen. So they've never addressed Ghost. Maybe Ghost got dusted. She got dusted back, so she didn't end up dying. So, and now she's in Thunderbolts. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when the last time we it's been a while since I watched the Ant-Man one, just because I think me and Jess were actually just talking about it the other day. I was like, she didn't die, right? Where she's like, I don't think so.
No, but
I couldn't remember.
she was like getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been quite a while since we watched it, but I liked Ghost from what I remember. I liked her character too. Her suit's pretty cool looking. She gives me time splitters. Is that what it is? She gives me time splitters vibes with those goggles. But I like her.
We have
So.
Red Guardian, who's going to be on a team with a wannabe Captain America and Captain America's best friend.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's going to be interesting having him on the team.
Mm.
But I want to know like what is Thunderbolt's intentions here, because we know Val wants to go to war with Wakanda. She wants to take the vibranium for the US and have the US be the only superpower with vibranium. We know that she's recruiting these superpowered people. Like what's the goal here? What's their end game? Do you have any theories at all?
No, honestly, I my only thought, like, I don't know anything about the comic books or anything about this. I honestly thought when I saw her, I forget when I thought I saw her. I honestly thought U.S. Agent and Val. I thought they were both from. I thought she was gonna be part of Hydra, and I thought she was gonna be recruiting U.S. Agent for Hydra, and that's
She
literally
could be Hydra. There's nothing ruling that out.
I know. I just remember we were talking about it like 2 weeks ago. I was saying I could have swore I saw She had a pin with the octopus
I gotta look out for
like
that.
logo. I thought
She
I could have
hasn't
swore I
been
thought she
in
had the
much in the
Hydra pin.
MCU. She's been in 3 things, very brief roles. So I'm sure
Yeah.
I can rewatch all those things and find out.
Yeah, I thought I could have swore I thought I saw a Hydra pin on her, and I thought they zoomed in on it or something, or it was a logo that I don't know from comic books. But
Yeah.
she and U.S. Agent, because he's kind of a I don't know, I don't like the guy. They give me Hydra vibes. So
Yeah.
my thought was it because I thought I thought there was a comic book where Steve Rogers was a Hydra person. I thought U.S.
There is,
Agent
yeah.
was gonna be I thought there was gonna be like this is their version of having a Captain America Hydra guy. So that's where I thought if you know when we do the next one,
Yeah.
that one we were just talking about, what was it called? Captain America what?
Captain America New World Order.
Yeah, New World Order. It's just that sounds like a
This
Hydra
movie I
movie.
think is
So,
also going to feature Harrison Ford as well.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I think they're gonna like lead into each other. I will say that there's a part of the comics for the Thunderbolts that led into a comic, like it was the continuation, the natural continuation, where it led into the Dark Avengers. So it could be that Val is kind of trying to make her own, like maybe like evil or government version of the Avengers,
Yeah.
and that's what she's trying to do here. She's basically playing the role of Norman Osborn in the comics,
Hmm.
pretty much. If that's the direction that they're going, which will be very interesting. I want to see if that is the direction that they're going. I think one of the Dark Avengers is Ares, the god of. I think it's the god of war, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That sounds right.
they've introduced Hercules in Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm like, maybe they'll introduce this character, but I think that might be too far fetched. I don't know. So yeah, these are the characters here. My thing is, if they're connecting the like all the Marvel shows and everything to the movies, the one thing I'll end on here, if a lot of people want Baron Zemo in this movie, it's
I
a
love
possibility because Thunderbolts, whatever, but he's kind of goes against all of the characters here. He doesn't like super soldiers. I don't know why he would be part of this team, right?
Right.
But if they were to break Zemo out of the raft or like take him out of the raft, the other characters that we know are in the raft right now are Cottonmouth from Luke Cage. No, wait, not Cottonmouth. Sorry, Diamondback. Diamondback from Luke Cage is in the raft right now. They could recruit him. Also, well, I don't know if have you watched season 3 of Jessica Jones?
No,
Okay.
I think I only watched the first season with Killmonger.
There's another
Or, not
with
Killgrave.
Kilgrave, yeah. There's another character from Jessica Jones that is in the raft that they could break out as well. And I think there might be a third character too, but I forget who that is.
A lot of
So,
people in this said it was. I just saw some people just quoting people who probably know nothing about this, like me. I just saw some people saying that like Taskmaster was very underwhelming in Black Widow.
yeah,
Like,
I've seen a lot of that. Oh.
yeah, I like her. I'm excited to see more of her. But I thought a lot of people said that they wish either Taskmaster or Ghost wasn't on this, and they had
Yeah.
Killmonger on it.
I,
Which
I,
I
I
don't.
think I think the criticisms for Taskmaster is it just looks like somebody with a motorcycle outfit, just like
Yeah.
that's and the character from the comics was sort of more Deadpool style, makes jokes kind of, and is a little bit more aloof and goofy, and uh, and it's supposed to be more of like a deadly assassin that's like, it wasn't exactly as portrayed as the movie. Um, I wasn't super interested in like I think Taskmaster's abilities are cool, the costume's cool, whatever. So I kind of liked what we got in Black Widow. I didn't think Taskmaster as a character itself is super interesting, like the person underneath the mask. So I wasn't really like aiming for that. I think a lot of people just hated that the role was given to a woman instead.
I think I like that better because there's
But
so many.
I think it fit the story and I think it worked fine. So.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do with Taskmaster, so I don't know. I think they introduced an interesting backstory for the character that fits with the MCU.
I agree because like I don't really know much about Taskmaster. I think I fought him once in the Marvel video game,
Yeah.
and I honestly was like, "Well, this guy's cool, but like
Yeah.
I like the female version. I think more in the
Black Widow movie, so I actually
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
I think
This role better.
I think the team leader for this, well, other than Val, like Val's gonna be pulling their strings and everything, but I think the team leader is gonna be Yelena, who will go by Black Widow in this movie probably.
Yeah.
And then Marvel said that the Winter Soldier is the only sane person in this group.
That's
So,
wild. That's
yeah.
quite a turnaround for him.
If you think about it, like looking at all these characters, it's kind of that's kind of true. But I think they all have abilities or superpowers, except for Yelena.
Yeah.
So
I mean, does Taskmaster even have superpowers, or is she just super? I mean, yeah, does Taskmaster have
she's got
superpowers?
like a super memory.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know she's gonna be super skillful, but like she
Yeah.
doesn't really have any like she doesn't have like super strength or anything. Like she's just gonna mostly just
I
have
think
like.
her suit has that.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I hope Ghost can do like cool teleporting stuff or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I'm excited to
It's
see
sweet.
what they're gonna do with Ghost.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that'll be pretty cool. I mean, I feel like the Red Guardian and Winter Soldier are basically the same guy.
Really?
Or like, right? Like they're both super. I mean, and U.S.
It,
Agent.
yeah, in
All
terms of
three of them.
abilities, they're the same. Like,
Yeah, like all
yeah,
three of those guys are pretty much the exact same.
they are super
So
soldiers, all of them. But like Red Guardian, I think is a different personality altogether, and he's
oh
like
yeah,
he hates Captain America, so he's gonna have a problem with Winter Soldier and U.S. Agent for sure.
yeah. Like U.S. Agent's literally wearing the exact same helmet that Rogers had. So
Yeah, it's the same but black.
yeah,
He doesn't have a shield. Like, I don't think they gave him a shield. It's just
no,
Taskmaster with the shield. He's gonna be like, "Hey, can I have the shield?"
yeah, really.
Anyways, that's our thoughts on Phase 5. If you have thoughts, let us know in the comments. What did you think of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever? Let us know too. I'm gonna kick off the end music. Oh nope, hold on. Let me get back to our thing here. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Let us know what you thought. I want to see your theories. Who is the Skrull in the MCU? I want to know. Thanks for joining me, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
fun. Next time, I'm really excited for that. Next time, we'll do
We're going to do a
scroll.
Skrull list. We're going to be on a Skrull watch. Secret Invasion is coming out soon, so it's going to be like...
We should do something too. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna read any comic books and try to figure that out or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool if we put money on it.
Oh, yeah.
You and I bet on it, and we go through our list. Be like, no, you were wrong. I was right, and we see who has more by the end.
Let's do it. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.
Cheers.